Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Episode 122 Tornado Tag Podcast. Today's episode is going to be celebrity matches. We're going to cover all things celebrity matches, from comedians to actual movie stars and television personalities to athletes to sports stars. There's going to be a little bit of everything. If you are here watching live or you're watching back on the comments, tag before we even go. Tell us your favorite celebrity match. Before we get into it, I want to thank our sponsor, Abaddon Tattoo Studio, a unique professional experience nestled in the small town of Pine Grove, Pennsylvania. They provide high-quality tattoos and piercings in a relaxed, professional, and sterile environment. They also have a second location in Pottsville, Pennsylvania. So check out the links below. And what?
I said, yay.
Check out the links below and go support them. We also have a Patreon, $1 or $5 general support as of right now. If you guys have a buck, buy us a beer, buy us a coffee, whatever it would be. That's, Starbucks is expensive nowadays. Show some help with some support if you can. We want to thank the people who do. Tommy B, Tree of Life Metaphysical Shop, Higher Than the Words, The Mysterious Jay Mysterio, and Austin Blackwell. So thank you all for the support. It means the world to us. We have a lot of ideas when it comes to new equipment, and it costs money. So if any support is greatly appreciated. Since the last time you guys see us, our new banner is up. There it is. There,
stickers.
We got
and
a
I have
bunch
the
of
shirt on
stickers
right here
to give away next show. So we have all these brand new stickies, as well as the T-shirt. Andy, I have a few here that I'm giving to people who help with this whole logo.
And I got the heather gray, and it's very comfortable, very soft.
Yeah, I like the heathers.
Yeah, the heathers are a little softer T-shirt.
I got a black one, and I got a heather red.
Oh, okay.
The heather red, it looks like the logo's faded. Like yours looks really prominent. This one looks faded, but I think it's because
it's on red.
Red on red shirt. Yeah.
Heather Red sounds like an indie wrestler.
It does. I wonder where they got it. Why is the design called Heather? Like,
I don't know.
Makes no sense.
If you are watching, please make sure you hit that like, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff.
Or people watching.
Also, we just launched. It took 3 years, but we just launched a very own website. So right now it's if you go to the links below, it's like podpage.com/tornado-tag-podcast
/:::::::::::::::::::::::::::::::::::::::::::::.
So that's hopefully changing soon. We did grab some domains, so it should very soon should be like tornadotag.com, tornadotagpodcast.com.
Very easy to remember.
Yeah, which is crazy because I've been against websites for a very long time.
But it's very easy to navigate. And
you don't
episodes
get hammered
right there.
You don't get hammered with pop-ups all over the place. It's a great way to follow us on social media with the website. The audio and video is there. The Patreon's there. Everything's there. It's really, really nice, convenient. It takes you right to the one of the merch pages.
Easy to navigate.
Yeah, it's nice. So that is launched right now. If you guys want to go check it out. Another thing you can do from there is if you don't use Apple, you can still go on the website and write us a review that'll go to Apple, and it's very, very helpful.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to helping us grow. We are now currently out of the top 250, but we broke in for like the fifth time in a consecutive week. Like we were there for a couple of days, and we peak almost up over around the 100 mark, and then drop. And then we're out by the end of the week. So I guess new episodes come in.
Yeah, it depends on when things are released.
Yeah. So yous are all doing amazing by even getting us ranked in that system, but we can possibly get higher with some reviews. So even if you don't listen on Apple, you can go on our brand new website and write reviews, and we will read the reviews on the show. Yeah. That's our new thing we want to do.
Even if it says like Paul T says 4 stars.
Yep, and you can contact us. Okay. If you can contact us on the website too. If you want to be booked, you can send us a message on the website and be like, "Hey, I want to be a guest on your show." And maybe that's going to be the new way going forward for people to, like, if you want to come on the show, just send us a message. I'm going to be linking a calendar to it. What'll give available dates when we are looking for guests too. So that's coming in the future. Like a lot of cool things we could do on the website that I'm very much looking forward to.
And it's easy.
Well, I forgot to do something before we went live. So you boys are going to scatter for time and talk a little bit, and then we'll get into our first little topic. But I'm going to get a beer to get prepared for.
Okay.
So I think while Tony's gone,
I get a beer.
I think the best thing we could do is talk about the G1 and the snake bit in G1.
The G1, which should have took place in the summer, again postponed to the fall because of the Olympics. Because it was last year, but then they didn't happen because Corona. But Corona is bad in New Japan. In New Japan, well, yes, and in Japan in general.
And Naito out, knee injury.
Yes, torn. I think it's MCL. He has.
That's not. Yeah.
Yeah. So if he's out hopefully he's back for Wrestle Kingdom. But man, and already strapped G1 loses Naito. It's like, oh boy.
Yeah, it was already thin to begin with, and now even thinner without one of the top guys.
Yeah, and everyone he wrestles just gets 2 points.
Yeah,
which is like, I thought, replace him. Like that. If there's ever a time to call out the All Japan, say, can we have someone?
Yeah, like, and
please,
it would be fun if the G1 just had alternates. That would be.
And you think that with their current shape of what they're in, they should have had 3 people as backup just in case.
Yeah, just in case somebody gets COVID-19.
Yeah, because the G1 goes for over a month, so it's not like a 2-day tournament.
Yeah,
it's over a month. So I would have had alternates, even if it's a young boy. They could have got Shota and put Shota in, just something. But man, New Japan in a bad way right now. Not that really their own fault, but no Will Ospreay, no Jay White, no Juice, no Finley. So
Minoru's in the United States, right?
Yeah. But I mean, it's rough. They'll get back together once in a while.
Yeah.
Once they get their Corona situated.
You know how I'm a weird wrestling fan. This will probably be the year where I actually start watching it. It's like probably the worst one of all time.
Yeah, you're like, this is great.
Let's kind of jump into what we're going to talk about next. If you like decisive finishes, New Japan's going to be the way to go. They have some draws in the G1, but
here and there.
Yeah, but
I will.
And there's less sticky stuff in Japan.
Like, I hate that. I won't like that.
Well, I mean, sticky like endings and stuff.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
Yeah, it's more decisive. And
I meant like wacky characters.
It's very rarely is a wacky. There's Yano. You would like Yano. Yano would be your favorite wrestler.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you would like maybe Yujiro Takahashi because he's a pimp and he comes out with a sexy girl.
I'm into this.
And you would also like the other Takahashi because he's real crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
The good Takahashi.
Yeah. And Romo. And I don't know. The main event guys, I don't know. They're good wrestlers, but I don't know if you.
The eye guy catches me.
Yeah, Naito.
He's the one that got hurt.
Yeah, he's the one that got hurt.
Yeah. I have one last housekeeping thing I just completely forgot about. Facebook is shitting on us. I think I figured out what the problem was, and this is not a knock to Yaz because he did a fantastic job, and he's still going to continue to make posts and share his content onto our community page. But I think what was happening when I would post like, "Hey, go check out our merch page," or sharing the same post to promote an episode, it was saying that it was coming from multiple accounts, the same post, and then he was doing his thing, and it was sharing to 3 or 4 different pages he runs.
Yeah.
So I think it was saying that like we came like, so if someone was trying to put out false information, let's say about something
falsifying documents,
like politically or medically, and you have 100 accounts and you share the same thing on 100 accounts, it validifies your story because it's coming from multiple sources.
Right.
And I think Facebook is trying to flag that stuff.
And also, it's a system that's not
run by a human.
It's an AI driven thing,
and you can't talk to anyone. Or it's
and the appeals
really
process is really hard.
So once I seen that we were possibly going to lose our page, it's been 3 years. I know it's only like 1,000 people. I don't want to lose it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna not remove all the posts, but we're not gonna post consistently on the like page. So if you are following the like page, that's where we're going to go live. We're going to go live on the like page and like say, "Hey, new episode out," or "Here's our website," like stuff like that.
Because anyone could post on the like page, right?
Yeah. Oh no, I got rid of the like the only person that could post on it now is me.
Oh, okay.
The community page.
The community page, everyone's welcome to do whatever they want.
That's what I meant. That's
yeah. So and we are talking a bunch of wrestling, cool topics. A lot of heated debates are happening in our community, but it's staying friendly, which is good and which is a must. But speaking of heated debates,
here we go.
Let's get into this week in wrestling.
So the big thing last night, we did have the AEW Grand Slam at the Arthur Ashe Stadium in Flushing, New York, and the whole show was kicked off with Bryan Danielson against Kenny Omega. I believe it was a non-title match.
Yes.
And a 30-minute time limit draw.
But what a crowd first!
What a crowd! The crowd was.
I like how they locked. When they locked up, they popped for the lockup. I was like, they popped for a lockup.
I said the same thing watching it at home. Like they're going nuts for the lockup, and then Tony Schiavone says it. Yeah.
I don't know if he just lost a little bit of a poker face in the beginning of the match, but Daniel Bryan looked like he had a little teary-eyed in the beginning of that match. You could definitely tell he just wrestled at WrestleMania with a crowd back, and he was going through the motions. In that New York crowd, staring across the ring from Kenny Omega, and that crowd going that crazy, he looked emotional, which is kind of.
I was like, "This is great. This is why I love wrestling. I can do whatever I want. You know, it's not like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that."
And he has talked in some interviews about how Vince was a little bit protective of him, and he's like, "I understand why, but he's like, I don't think I need to be that protected." And
yeah, he's not an old woman, you know.
He was talking
like
about
Mae Young,
best finish ever, and
I don't
amazing
know best finish ever, but.
Wrestling is back. Thank you for joining us, Jack.
But yeah, so he was talking about the Gulak match, which was very good at Extreme Rules right before the pandemic. I think it was the last pay-per-view before the pandemic, or not Extreme Rules, Elimination Chamber in Philly. And he took a suplex where he kind of landed on his head against Gulak, and Vince got to the back and he's like, "Don't do that." Where now it's he's not gonna have that somebody looking over his shoulder quite as much. Everybody's gonna be cognizant of, hey, we should probably not kick Danielson in the face.
Yeah.
He's got a concussion
if
history.
he wants to do something, well,
I mean, listen, I think they're gonna give him the respect to call his own matches. But
yeah.
I mean, you just signed a healthy young quarterback to your team. You don't want him to get in
I don't know
sack.
how young.
Yeah, you don't.
But I'm saying
you don't want him doing stupid.
That
shit.
crowd that last night, you don't want to lose it anytime soon.
No. And even some of the moves there, like the Snapdragon suplex on the ramp.
Yeah.
Kenny took that.
Yeah, and he kind of
off.
flipped, like the one off the top, he flipped over and it was a nice, easy flip over.
Yeah.
I mean, but he was doing everything. They brought back cattle mutilation, which everybody liked.
Yes, loved it.
He did the reverse Rana. He did the top rope back suplex, which he always used to do in ROH.
He did I have till 5.
I was hoping for him to do the elbows.
Yeah, shout out to the guy in the front row who was trying his hardest to get he's gonna kick your fucking head.
Oh yeah, they tried. I think eventually.
I think the crowd was so hot and he was trying to do it while they were already hot.
Yeah,
it wasn't gonna catch on.
And there was did you keep seeing NWO Macho Man kept standing up?
Yeah.
And I was like, come on, dude, just sit down. Stop trying to steal thunder.
One of the best matches in the longest time, and you're gonna fucking
try to look at me. No one wants to look at you right now.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, and it was such a great match.
It was a beautiful match. It was done very, very well. It was everything I wanted to see from Kenny Omega and Daniel Bryan. Now when I say this to me, it's not an end all be all thing, but to me, it's going to throw that first red flag up, because when we were talking about this going up all week, almost 3 or 4 years were like, I bet he goes to a time limit draw to protect everybody.
Yeah, like, because when it's one of those matches where you're looking at like, who's gonna lose?
Yeah.
I mean, they're both
Kenny could have taken a loss there and been fine.
Yeah, I mean, they both would have been fine. I mean, smart booking and knowing how to get over, you can handle almost anything unless it's awful.
Yeah,
you know, if let's say retribution, it's very hard to get back from that.
So for me, the problem is I want to stay consistent as a fan. So if I'm going to bitch about WWE's product, I'm not going to praise it when it happens on the other show. And for me, one of the biggest things that's a huge turnoff for me on weekly television with Raw and SmackDown is it seems like they just go through the motions, tease a big match, like tonight on the main event, you're going to see these two amazing, and then everyone, the crowd fucking yay, and then it's a fuck finish. And you're like, cool. And then they burn you with like 4 or 5 of those times. And then you're just like, you know what? I'm over this. Or you'll see a variation tag team between the two people that are going to be in the match.
That's one of their
awful.
And
they do that way too much. And then the two guys that are they're an unlikely tag team. They don't like each other, but they have to work together.
So there's a lot of tropes that are happening in WWE that bother me, and that's one of them. Like I understand there's heels. I understand that the chicken shit heel always has to win, but eventually
they have to cheat to win.
Yeah, they have to cheat, but eventually they can go out there and get a normal victory, because a lot of times, and this is a WWE trope, and it could be something with AEW as well, is where the chicken shit heel always is the chicken shit heel, and he can never get one on his own. And then you have to build him back up when he's not a heel to win those matches without assistance. And one of the people I can always just at the top of my head who that is right now is Kevin Owens. When Kevin Owens was a heel champion, every win was with assistance, and then when he turned babyface, he's losing all the time. Like he just,
but that's
just bad
booking on WWE's part.
But that seems to be a common thing. Like Sami Zayn, heel, cheats, and then he loses.
What a heel does. Cheats.
It just every single heel doesn't always have to have some, like, you can still be a dickhead and go win a match. Like, don't hit me with it every single fucking time.
I mean, but you don't. I mean, like MJF won last night without cheating, right?
Yeah, then that's good. I like that.
Britt beat Sheeta for the title without cheating, right?
Yes.
I forget.
I believe she did.
I think so.
Yeah. Or I don't know. It's tough. But anyway, like, so after it ended in a draw, and I was like, oh, cool. Like, that was like, I didn't hate it. Like, it didn't fucking ruin my night. But I just said, that's kind of a disappointment that they built this up. Like I thought it would have been cool. Like if everyone ran out, Daniel Bryan looked like he gets fucking cheap shotted. 1, 2 false finish. Fucking Daniel Bryan fights back, wins.
Isn't that like what you were just saying? They're doing too much of with like running.
What I'm saying is like they could have still used that angle, but Daniel could have came out on top and then been like, Kenny, I got one on you. And then Kenny's like, well, fuck you. That you're not getting a title shot until your record. Like he could just make. He could be in the same position we are right now.
Kenny's already saying no rematch.
Exactly. So we could be at that same point. And still kind of gave Daniel a win in New York.
Well, that's what I would have done. But I also understand that one thing AEW takes very seriously is they protect their champions. You don't see like where WWE will do. WWE is doing a very good job of protecting Roman. When was the last time Roman Reigns lost a match? Like even a tag match?
Yeah, even the triple threat, and then Raw, he sneaked in and got the win there.
But then again, you're doing that, and Big E's your WWE champion, and he's a guy that is kind of getting that nudge up to the next level. But his first match, he loses.
But then he hits his first protected star and he loses. And it's like, oh, well, this title reign means nothing to
exactly.
me now. So like Drew McIntyre.
Yeah. So I would rather have a booker be overprotective of their champion like they're doing with Kenny, where my thing is I'm thinking, we just did a thing where Kenny lost to Christian and he lost the Impact title.
Yeah.
We don't want to do it again. We don't want Kenny to lose. They asked Triple H to not have him lose to Andrade.
Yeah.
And
which I would have him lose to Andrade, get rid of that belt, and not lose to Christian.
They said they wanted him to lose Andrade. Triple H said they didn't want him to lose. I thought it was that way around. I thought AEW was okay with it.
They were, and then I think they weren't for a minute.
Oh.
But yeah, you don't want your champion to lose. Like that's why they didn't. That's why it took a while for even when Moxley was back, Barnett wrestled somebody else at a Bloodsport because Barnett beat Moxley at Bloodsport, and they weren't going to have Barnett beat him when he was the AEW champion.
Yeah.
This is Josh Barnett, not Jim Barnett.
Yeah.
If anyone was
so then after the draw, there was a few filler matches in there that, you know,
MJF Pillman.
Yeah.
It was all right for what it was.
Sting and Darby.
I thought that was very good. I know you like Sting, but I thought FTR made Sting look great for that 2 minutes.
FTR is fantastic.
He looked so good. I like that. Sting looks awesome.
I know there was a little bit of conversation about the NWO gear in the chat, FTR.
I think the NWO spoofing is overplayed.
Yeah, there's so much.
For what they did.
I would assume they did it because they were facing Sting.
Yeah.
And that was his rival.
Yeah. So I get it. Like I would never get NWO gear made, but
what kind of fucking idiot would do an NWO spoof?
Yeah.
We have one. Well, I mean, I got it made without you.
Yeah, I know. I would stay away from that. I always tell people,
to be fair, we almost had a 4 Horsemen one too.
Yeah.
The art never got done.
Well, the original Pinnacle thing was
it was the very 4 Horsemen-ish. I didn't have a problem with the draw. I think I would have maybe, if I was booking, Dan Bryan would have won.
Yeah.
Brandon Danielson. But to me, it doesn't matter. Would have been that much better? Not really.
I would have had Danielson win, but it's like the 3 count and the draw are right neck and neck.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
that's a Omega's
that was a thing too.
The timing was off. It was a draw.
The timing was way off because the bell already rang for the draw. Then he put the submission in, and then
what they didn't do right? They didn't announce like 5 minutes left.
Yeah. If you're gonna
1 minute left.
If you're gonna end a draw, you got to put that out there higher.
Yeah, you got 1 minute left, and then people are like, oh.
Yeah. The submission should have been locked in as he was saying time expired.
Yeah.
Not saying time expired, then he puts a submission in.
Yeah.
I think that was a little off with there, but once again, the ending wasn't the make or break for me. Right.
The only thing that happens then is sometimes the bell gets rang too late and the person taps out. Not speaking from personal experience.
So then Cody and Aleister Black hit the ring, and I already know this is a fuck finish. You know what I mean? Like,
I like this. I was gonna say
I like the Black Mist.
I like Black Mist.
Listen, anytime Poison Mist is used, I'm about it.
Yeah. He hit him in the eyes.
Poison Mist and kick his fucking head off. I hate the roll up. I don't like the roll up pin.
Well,
you already Poison Mist him. Your move is a spinning heel kick.
Yeah.
Kick his face off.
It could, but I mean,
you know what I mean? And I get the booking is
that's kind
the
of
last time he took that spin kick, he was out for 6 months.
Yeah.
So I guess that's why they didn't do it again. But
I don't know. They thought that much into it. They probably just thought, wouldn't it be cool? You just rolled them up.
Yeah.
The only problem with that is going back to WWE. That's another finish that is overused in WWE. A schoolboy roll up or a small, like all roll up pins are just always used instead of a finisher on.
I mean, I don't think that's a WWE product. I think that's all in wrestling.
Yeah, but I mean, it's used a lot in WWE.
Well,
a lot.
Yeah, I mean, many shows I've been on, it's been used too. So I don't.
Yes, and I'll elaborate a little more for me anyway of why this bothered me when I get to the end. So that match, I was like, and listen, I love Cody's. I'm sure he's a great guy. He just doesn't do it for me right now.
I don't think he's doing it for everybody. And now I think people say they think he knows, like he's playing more into it. Like obviously he's a heel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that show is going to make him even more heel.
He's
Like,
turning heel.
I don't want to watch that fucking show.
He's turning heel.
So I guess he's going to be the like, I still love you, people. Boo.
Because even his gear was kind of looked like it was inspired by the one character on that show, The Boys on Amazon.
Oh yeah, the Homelander.
Homelander. Yeah.
So and plus, why you see those two, you're going to cheer Aleister Black because he's cool looking.
Yeah, and he's the new guy.
Yeah,
new kid in the block. Then we get the main event.
Oh, the CM Punk promo, short but sweet, but it was very good.
Yeah, it was all right.
So yeah, I liked that. It was good.
I just think him like, how do you follow that? And then the crowd was just like, not as hot, I guess they were as during the match. So
well,
yeah,
well, you're taking on a ride. There's peaks and valleys.
Yeah. I just think that he came in at when they're catching their breath, and it made
the worst thing you could do is have another match right after that, unless it was a goof comedy match,
or you have MJF.
But if that was directly after that,
the crowd would have been dead. People
So you needed something that was not a match.
It's a good call
to space it out.
Main event. Love these two talents. Fucking Britt Baker has gotten leaps and. I mean, there's probably one in there. I'm just going to the three main ones that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. They were just the
FTR Sting.
FTR Sting and Darby.
Britt Baker has just leaps and bounds got better. I remember when we first started.
Yeah, she was not good.
We're like,
she was good in the ring, but not good with personality at all.
Yeah. And now her personality is mixing with her ring ability.
Yeah.
And she's playing both, and it's great.
And she has confidence.
Yeah.
And then Rebel and Jamie Hayter.
And Rebel was so great.
Yeah.
Rebel was amazing.
For me, just going into that match, I'm like, this is exactly how it's going to end. And it ended that way. And I was just kind of like, it was just like, when you know the end of a movie and you're just like, everything to get me there was fun.
Yeah.
Like you're just kind of like,
I feel like I know the end of 95% of the movies I watch, though.
Yeah.
Especially if you've watched enough wrestling, you know the beats are.
Now I'm the fan who tries to completely suspend all belief and go in pure. But
that's what I try to do too. I try to stop playing armchair booker. I used to do that a lot. It's not a fun way to watch wrestling. I just try to enjoy it for what it is now.
Yeah, and then I guess going into it, I was just like,
the more you watch wrestling, the more you can see what's coming.
Yeah. And that's the thing about AEW. I feel like they've been doing so well. Like wrestling was like to put two people debuting in the same segment is a fucking no way that's a thing. Or like they're just breaking all the rules every now and then to keep you on your toes. And I was like, I wasn't expecting a title change.
Yeah,
but something but something in there.
I mean, Britain.
Yeah, something in there like has to be like, and they've done it before. Kenny won the title on TV, Miro won the title on TV, and that's cool to see titles change on weekly television.
I think all the TNT title changes have been on TV.
Yeah, my biggest problem is I guess WWE has lost. I've lost my luster watching their weekly program because it seems like they don't even care about their booking, or it's so predictable and so like easy to see what's happening that I'm not wasting my time watching him. I'll just wait for the pay-per-view.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't say that, and you might miss something good though.
Maybe, but
yeah, like I don't really
like that. Doesn't have to do with that angle. It could be a completely different story.
I just because. And there's a great stuff you can miss by missing White Weekly.
Yeah, like but you can't throw out the
once you lose faith. Once you lose faith, it's hard to go back.
It is, but I mean, you can't say, oh well, because she cheated to win, I'm not watching the show anymore.
And this show is for me isn't a make or break. I'm not even close, but it is my first red flag. If
I thought it was an amazing show,
only because they booked
you're the only
main
person
event
that I've
matches.
heard that said that.
Yeah, they booked 3 huge main event matches, and all 3 of them were in. It was almost like watching, and it's my favorite pay-per-view all year is Rumble. When we went in, and pretty much we knew that the 2 Rumble winners were going to be fucking Seth and whatever.
Yeah. I mean.
And then like and then it ended. You're just like
Seth didn't even win the Rumble.
I'm just using an example. I forget which Rumble it was. Becky won.
Oh yeah, Becky,
and
Seth,
then the other one was.
Oh, that was 2 years ago.
I don't remember, but it was just the most predictable fucking ending to a Rumble, and it was just like.
I mean, let's say Truth won. I mean, yeah, it's different, but you'd be like, okay, now what?
And for it's also not just the destination; it's the journey. Where is a draw a great finish? No, but I understand why they did it.
Yeah.
And the match was so good. Like
it was.
I can't like you can be kind of dismayed
by
the
ending. Watch it again.
I would. Yeah, that was one of the 5 best matches of the year, even with the draw being the ending.
Yeah. No, I thought the match itself was fantastic.
Like, what are you going to miss if you don't watch every? You're going to miss a great match. You're going to miss a lot of great matches.
I agree 100%. Like I said, I guess in the chat, like Tyler was like, "Oh, he's real." I wasn't angry. I was just expressing the best I can via message of how I felt without. But I guess it appeared. I wasn't like
No.
frustrated or I hated, like, I'm not hating AEW.
Yeah.
It just, they're the things for me that I was just like, I hope next time they give us a big name match on TV, I just hope like we get a conclusion to it. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't want, if you give me two big names again on TV and it ends in like a draw or another type of finish where you're overprotecting somebody, I'm gonna be like, I can't get excited for those matches because you're Monday Night Rawing me. Like, you're gonna.
But I mean, comparing it to Raw is. I mean, last week was pretty good. Raw is awful. Dynamite is very good.
Yeah, but
I mean,
if you keep telling me
one finish,
I'm gonna get you
makes
super
it Raw
excited
level.
with a match. Because most of the wrestling that happens during Raw is good wrestling. Storytelling is awful, but like when the right people in the ring, the matches are fine.
Yeah, right people.
But when you get to the end of the match and it's a fucking goofy ass finish, and you've seen that goofy ass finish 16 times already with this person, you're like, I'm over this. I can't keep watching.
I mean, if that's how you feel, then maybe wrestling isn't your thing then, because like that's wrestling 101.
Now,
I mean, you could change it up and be different, but how different can you be without making a fool out of it? You know, like
I just think there are other creative ways to do things.
If you get too creative, though, you wind up being Vince Russo.
Yeah, and then
you get too cute with the formula.
I'm not saying you have to like fucking
Judy bag on a pole.
Yeah, you do crazy shit like that. But there's different ways to write an ending to a match, or like a fucking I don't know. There's anything. I'm just fucking. Sick.
I know, but some people would say,
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
No, a straight win is boring.
Yeah. I mean, even a straight win, like there's different ways you could write to things to make them appealing, or to not go to the well of the same thing over and over. I'm just saying, if this is the beginning of something to keep an eye out for me, every time I'm going to get a big marquee match.
I mean, how many times has the heel cheated? The Jericho when he was bad cheated?
Yeah.
You know,
and the Mist, nobody's done that in AEW. Like the last person to do it was Asuka.
Yeah.
And before that it was Tajiri. It was like 10 years before her.
Yeah. That Abaddon, she doesn't miss, right?
I don't think so.
No, but she should.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, the last person to miss since then has been Masha Slamovich.
Oh, she don't.
Yeah.
She missed it, Edith, in the Siberian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's cool. I don't think Asuka does. Is Asuka even on TV?
She hasn't been on TV in a while.
She's hurt.
She's hurt.
Something's going on.
Or they just lose confidence in her. I thought the Dynamite was very good.
Did I enjoy? Here you go. Did I enjoy seeing Big E win the title? 100%. But I will say this: I don't have faith in his run. I don't think WWE's going to book him properly.
Well, I think it's a little too early to say that, but I mean, probably not.
It's not off to a great start. He lost. He lost his first match.
Yeah, probably not. But I mean, when you put him in a match where it's him and Roman,
and
it's your two world champions, well, someone has to lose.
Yep.
So don't do that. You know, like don't have them go at each other unless you're going to unify the belt.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think that was more to the point of, I think AEW was kind of marketing to the fans that remembered Bryan Danielson and just the idea that you're having this match. And yeah, they did the match in ROH. That Kenny Omega wasn't Kenny Omega yet.
No.
In 2009. Just having that match, regardless of the finish, that's why that crowd was so hot. Like, this is something we've wanted to see for years. And even if the ending isn't what you wanted, that's fine. Like, the idea of a draw is that it makes you want to pay to see them do it again.
Yeah.
And so if they run it back at full gear, they're not going to do another draw on pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Because like back in the day, that's what you did. Like if the NWA champion came to town, they usually had a 60-minute draw with whoever the challenger was.
That would fucking drive me bananas.
That was usually the norm.
That would drive me fucking
back
crazy.
in the day.
If I went to an indie show, I don't even.
Now an hour is a lot at an indie show.
Even like in an indie show, you don't have week to week storytelling at indie. So if you're gonna do a fucking crazy finish, you better have a great storytelling on the way up to that to make it justified. Because if I waited the entire main event for a fucking story, and you as a booker fucking and your performers didn't do it very well, it's like, that's my last impression. Now I'm going to come back to your show. At least weekly television, you can pick them up next week or be like, hey, you know what I mean? You don't have that shot on an old school ROH.
When you're booking month to month, it's different than when you're booking.
Exactly. And that's where sometimes I'm like how you said ROH and New Japan will have a draw or that. And I'm fine with that because at the time ROH wasn't a weekly product. So it's like, oh, the draw. All right, now. Oh, and then we fought to a draw. Next fucking, we're gonna do it. We're gonna run it back, and it's like, oh, now I want to come back and see them go.
That's exactly what they're gonna do with Omega and Danielson.
Yeah,
that's exactly what they're gonna do.
Yeah, but it's when it's weekly. Like, I don't know. Like I said, it's not make or break for me. But if it becomes a pattern where if I say
the show's been on for 2 years almost, and it was their second draw. So I don't think it's a pattern.
I don't think so either. I'm just saying like after that one, and then seen like predicting the Malachi minus the mist, but like I was like, I don't trust this to be a clean win or something crazy is gonna happen.
I didn't think that would have been clean.
Yeah,
well, he already beat Cody clean once. If you do it again, it's repetitive. And you don't want Cody to win. You'll cut Black off at the leg.
Which I thought Cody would win.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's that. But I don't know where they're gonna go with that.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. That was pretty much it. Well, that was enough for that fucking shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fun. I know the other thing we'll talk maybe if we have more time at the end of the show. But you had your outbreak match.
Oh yeah. Earl Hebner is 72 years old and still moved around good. Was really nice guy.
Funny as hell. We got
Talked to everybody.
Love Earl was
He
great.
talked to us for like 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
It was, and he told us a lot of cool shit.
Mm-hmm.
Probably ruined Impact for me.
No, well, he's very easy to talk to. Very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Wanted to do whatever we wanted to do, spots and ring.
Did you offer him a water?
Yeah.
Yeah. He goes, "Do you want a water?" Or what did he say
I
to
want
you?
a beer.
No, he said, I don't want to kill my buzz or something like that.
Yeah, it was a great
He
guy.
was cracking jokes from the second
Oh, great.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
he
we-
was
in the
happy to
back.
be there.
Yeah.
At a small indie.
Yep.
You know.
in the back when they were doing the show, the pre-show.
Yeah,
meeting.
we didn't want to go too far behind the curtain.
But like he was
Yeah.
he was cracking jokes back there with the boys. Like he just fit right
And
in.
he was taking pictures with people.
Yeah.
And he didn't have that star quality.
Dude, the double
Very down
bird,
there.
the double
Very down
bird
there.
thing was completely
Yeah.
his call.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Are you guys cool with that?" I'm
What
like,
do you see this?
"I like it more. Thank you." Yeah, but no, he was super cool.
Yeah.
And speaking of a interesting finish for an indie show,
Also, Duke Drosy. Duke Drosy. I got a
Yeah,
chance to
he
talk
was
to for a little bit.
very
He was
nice
cool.
too. But the way that was told and the way it was handled, was done perfectly.
I thought so.
Yeah, I thought it
Not
was
just
done.
I did it, but I mean,
I will say,
but that was not what I would have done. But
Yeah.
it wasn't my call.
yeah, we'll
But
see.
nothing against it.
We'll see the long term here.
Yeah,
But overall,
but I get it.
I think it was my favorite break show I've seen so
Okay,
far.
yeah.
I thought booking wise, I thought they nailed it.
No, okay.
There's some shows where I'm like, ooh,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But this show was
it was
A+.
trimmed down. I think it was 7 matches total.
The pay,
Right?
eight,
Much
including
better.
the
Yeah.
opening, 8 including the quarantine match.
I think all indie shows should
Pretty
be that unless it's some big super indie.
I think the girl who does ring announcing, keep her. She's fantastic.
Destiny.
Mhm.
Yes.
Great pacing. Great pacing.
Yeah.
On that show.
Yeah, I didn't really get to watch any other matches, but
After intermission, I was like, oh, we're done.
Yeah,
Look
there's
out.
like 3
I was-
matches.
I was like, holy fuck, we're done.
yeah,
It was nice.
Somebody to keep an eye on in the local scene too. I think he's relatively new. Very impressed with him. Matt Quay.
Yeah.
Every time I see Matt Quay, I'm very impressed.
No offense, I know you're injured now.
Yeah.
But I think Matt Quay should be a guy who maybe next match gets a bigger name.
Well, Tommy Vex is a pretty big name.
Tommy Vix is a
yeah,
great
and he
name.
beat him, did he?
Yeah.
But I think you throw like maybe a Castro
Okay,
at fucking
yeah,
Matt Quay and see. Not
yeah.
saying.
He's still very, very new. I think he's only been wrestling for a year, maybe
Yeah, and
2
he-
at the most.
for,
But he's-
for that timing, he is.
Yeah, but he's has a
very good.
very 1980s look, and he's
And he
he's a good
goes
guy.
everywhere.
Yeah, he does.
So he's
He
not
gets-
just someone who's like, okay, I train out of the dungeon. He's at WXW. He's at Sanctuary. He's
Yeah.
at PPW.
Mhm.
He is,
CCW, yeah.
he's working everywhere he possibly can, and he just absorbs
good, yeah.
everything thrown
And
at
That's
him.
what you want to do.
And I already knew Tommy Vex, how good Tommy Vex is, and they have Matt Quay in there with him.
I
He
said
didn't lose a step.
that when we did like a pre-show podcast, I was like, that's gonna be that's my circle on the calendar. I think that match is gonna steal the show.
Yeah.
And I thought they did a fantastic job.
And Tommy Vex also stole a show at Leapfrog.
Yeah.
As the janitor.
Oh yeah.
Tommy Vex is criminally
He-
underrated.
he's amazing.
Yeah.
And I thought Kakao and Castro was very good too.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a great match.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ian Bush, how was he in the ring?
Oh, he's good. I mean, that was the 5th time. I think we were 6th,
Yeah.
7th. I don't know.
Ian's a nice guy.
Yeah.
Just overall backstage, he's a really nice kid, and he's another one who works really hard. Maybe a little too hard on himself.
Yeah.
So,
Sometimes.
He's
Yeah.
always saying his matches suck. or
Yeah.
it's too long for an Ian Bush match.
Yeah.
A little hard on himself.
I'm not used to going 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I was like,
He just you're
Too
doing,
bad.
you're doing fine.
Yeah, very fun times. Very
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. Oh, I like Ian.
I threw
A dungeon guy.
I
You
threw
know?
a little shout out to both your gears. He was wearing the baseball gear, and you were wearing
Okay,
the world's
yeah.
finest gear.
Yeah. How about it?
A little fancy gear off there.
Yeah.
Um,
He looked very Phillies.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has the Phillies old gray.
And then he had the Eagles stuff too before.
that one I can do without. Phillies I
Yeah.
can I not get behind, but I can tolerate. You know?
So I don't. There was no Outbreak shows announced though. The next one is not announced. Is what I'm trying to say. Not that they're done or anything.
yeah.
I'm just saying the next one is not announced yet. So, but yeah, come out to Outbreak when you get a chance to.
It's fun. Yeah,
I know
good
that
show.
the Hamburg Fieldhouse is booked for November. I think maybe possibly December too. Not within our wrestling, just with stuff. They have like gun shows and stuff like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
Gun show than wrestling.
Yeah, it would work.
Yeah.
People that go to a gun show would like wrestling.
Absolutely.
And the knife show.
Yeah. Just make sure they take them all out of the
Yeah.
bar. All right, Brian.
So what celebrity is Outbreak going to have? Is it going to be like one of the local weather people?
Yeah. Wouldn't that be something?
Josh O'Dell is going to wrestle Andy Header.
There has been a celebrity.
Tom Clark.
There has been a celebrity appearance, not a match, but an appearance at Outbreak.
Chris Van Vliet.
Well, no,
I mean,
he got involved. RoboCop.
Oh my
yeah.
God. Yeah.
A wrestling veteran RoboCop.
Yeah.
He
Tag with Sting.
friend of Sting, yeah.
Yeah.
Sting's good buddy, I believe.
Yeah.
Phrase
I
is.
think
Broke
that's
him
the
out of a
only.
shark cage when the
Yeah.
Four Horsemen locked him in a shark cage.
I think that's the only
Star of 3 movies.
only celebrity indie scene I've ever seen.
I'm trying to think. I'm sure there was somewhere along the ways. Someone had an indie
That
match.
I've seen in
But
person.
yeah, that I've seen. No.
RoboCop's the only one.
Yeah, RC, the guy that used to be on the radio here, used
You're
to.
right. I seen RC
He,
wrestle
he used to
in
wrestle.
Monty City.
Yeah, and he wrestled a few times in Palo Alto for FWA, Future Wrestling Alliance. And he used to do a blade job and everything. Was a little nuts.
Really?
Yeah. Many times RC was all busted over. That's when he was real fat.
Yeah.
You know.
There was a DJ in Philly, Michael Tierson, Mad Dog Tierson.
Hi.
And he wouldn't wrestle, but he had a wrestling column in the Philadelphia Daily News when wrestling was really hot, like around the Attitude Era. And he also refereed some a little bit too, but yeah, he didn't wrestle.
Had to pull the notes up here.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of independent guys, and like it's like celebrity guys that were on indie shows. Didn't what's his name from David? Danny Bonaducci. Didn't he do an indie
he
show?
wrestled Joey Janela.
Yeah.
He wrestled Joey Janela when he was the morning guy at WISP in Philly. He took over after Stern went to Sirius, and they had David Lee Roth, and that didn't work, and they had Opie and Anthony, and that didn't work. Then Bonaducci, before YSP became the sports station, at the very end of WISP, Bonaducci was their morning guy, and he wrestled a very young Joey Janela.
Ain't that something?
And
Yeah.
I think he did. I believe he was part of it. Something we're going to talk about here.
Celebrity wrestling camp.
Was he part? Yeah, he was part of Hulk Hogan's Celebrity Championship Wrestling.
Didn't it come down to him and Screech?
No.
That was a boxing match they were posted.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Yeah. And it wound up being Bonaducci backed out and wound up being a Horseshack. And
then Screech stabbed a
the
guy.
hell out of him.
Horseshack.
So Hulk Hogan's Celebrity Championship Wrestling was the show on country music television.
Off all channels.
It came out in I believe 2008.
Broken Skull Ranch was on the Country Music Channel.
It
Yeah,
was.
that-
I mean, that kind of fits.
Yeah, the only time I actually watched the Country Channel to watch that show.
And didn't Eric Young have a fishing show?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels had a hunting show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I believe the fishing show was on the country. I could be wrong though.
I believe it was.
Jen with the share. Thank you so much for sharing, Jen. If anyone else is watching, please help us with a
Thanks,
share,
Jen.
a like. That's very, very helpful. Make sure you check the links. Also, follow us on social media before Facebook kills us. Also, if you are if you are watching, we said it in the beginning of this show. We're gonna put it back out there for you. If you're watching, name your favorite celebrity wrestling match. Our
appearance,
our
if you
one
want.
that really you remember first. Like, what was the
Yeah.
first celebrity wrestling appearance?
For years, a lot of people were Mr. T at WrestleMania.
Yeah. And I when I did the prep for this, I tried to.
You know what
focus
mine
on-
was?
Well, I'll try to think from your time.
Where I actually knew who the celebrity was. I didn't really know Mr. T, and I didn't see that live. I was too young.
Trying
Well,
to
before
think,
your time, yeah.
96, 97.
What year were you born?
86.
Yeah, Mr. T. WrestleMania 1 was before you were born.
Yeah, 18 was already off the air, I think. By the way, it was in syndication, but his heyday was done. I'm trying to think. Who was on Raw? Who was on Raw?
It was a pay-per-view where it was set up.
Did they wrestle? Or
Pete Rose?
Yes, they wrestled. Not that night, but it set it up
Okay.
for a match later on.
Lawrence Taylor?
Lawrence Taylor.
Oh, okay.
Lawrence Taylor
LT.
Video was my first
And
one.
I had no idea what football was, like, because I didn't care. So I'm like,
I knew Lawrence
who
Taylor
is
because
this guy?
Yeah.
because he shattered my quarterback's leg
Oh,
on national television.
So they could literally took any football player and it would be the same to me.
Lawrence
He
Taylor was a scary
very
man.
good. He was a very good football player.
Yeah, he was scary.
He was a very good professional football player.
He
Salt
was-
and Pepper sang him to the ring.
They did.
He was Avery Good.
Very good professional.
That's it. That he's officially changed his name.
officially Avery
Yeah, we were
Good.
saying that's fantastic. I think someone said that's so
Excellent.
good you have to use it.
100%.
Avery Good, professional wrestler. In fact, just announced he's going to be. They're doing another IWTV show at H2O on October 9th, I believe. It's a Saturday or Friday. And he is going to be wrestling world famous CB for the Camp Leapfrog Championship.
Oh, wow.
And the main event that night for the IWTV title is going to be Wheeler Yuta defending against Alex Shelley, which is going to be very, very good. That should be excellent.
Yeah.
It's going Broadway.
They can't do that every time.
Wheeler.
I thought you didn't like the Broadway.
Every Wheeler match.
He was fine with it when it was IWTV 100.
No, it just seems like that's Wheeler's thing. He just goes really, really long matches.
Is he signed to AEW or are they just?
I think he is, but they still let him do IWTV stuff. So the Celebrity Championship Wrestling, your celebrities, and your trainers were Brutus Beefcake, Brian Knobs, amazing trainers.
Oh boy, yeah, I was just gonna say, Jesus.
And the guy who probably was doing the actual training, Tom Howard. Tom Howard ran the UPW school. He was one of the first guys to work with John Cena and a few Heidenreich, the people who came through that place. Victoria all came through UPW. It was Rick Bassman's indie, and they were a developmental territory for a little bit. And so your contestants on this show, you had Tiffany. You remember Tiffany
from ECW?
No.
Oh, Tiffany, 80s Tiffany.
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
Tiffany, Frank Stallone, Erin Murphy. Does anybody know who Erin Murphy is?
A pop singer?
She.
Oh, E-R. I have no
Not
idea.
Erin Murphy was Tabitha on Bewitched.
Oh,
Their daughter.
okay.
Wow.
Tabitha Stevens, the character, also has a porn star named after her. So just wanted to bring that up.
Nikki Ziering. Nikki Ziering was on the show. Trishelle Canatella from The Real World. I think, was she on the same season of The Real World as The Miz? Oh, no, she was on a different one.
I was gonna say, if they did that to completely piss him off.
I think they were both on those challenge shows.
Yeah.
Danny Bonaducci. And these are the order they were eliminated. Like Tiffany was the first person eliminated. Like the worst wrestlers would get eliminated. Dustin Diamond was there. Eric Esch Butterbean, who had done wrestling before. Boxing, wrestling. And then your two finalists, Todd Bridges, who really was. I watched this when it happened. Todd Bridges was the best wrestler on there.
I kind of remember that.
He was a decent wrestler, and I think he wrestled one or two
Todd
indie
Bridges
matches
from Different Strokes, the older brother.
Gary Coleman's older brother.
Willis. Of what you talking about, Willis.
And
they should bring that show back.
They should, like a 90s, oh no, 90s, nowadays version. The 90s version, fuck it.
If you want to see a really cool reality wrestling TV show, go to IWTV, The Masked Wrestler.
Yeah,
that was fun. Yeah, you had we talked about Tony. Well, Tony Deppin's the reason we're doing this because he had the match with Ron Funches. He was in The Masked Wrestler.
So was Avery good? Wasn't he?
No, he wasn't.
Oh, he was hurt when it was taping.
Yeah, I don't know if he was hurt, but he wasn't in there.
Statlander was a judge, right?
Statlander was a judge. She was hurt.
Yeah.
Statlander was a judge. I don't want to give away too many things, but Wheeler Yuta was there.
That's it. That's
Lee Moriarty was there. Lady Frost was there. Logan Easton LaRue was there, who you may know from being under another mask, maybe.
I'm drawing a blank.
I don't know either. But Tony Deppen, I'm gonna spoil this. Tony Deppen, it was his character, because they all had names. They all had like funny names, and his was Stokely Hathaway Jr. Stokely Hathaway is the guy who's the manager of the Diamond Mine. I forget the name he uses in NXT, but he's the Malcolm Bivens.
Yeah, Malcolm Bivens. And I was gonna say Biggs, but that
was Clarence Mason when he went to WCW. Was Jay Biggs. So then your winner was Dennis Rodman, who was already wrestling before Celebrity Championship Wrestling. But the most commonplace, like through the history of wrestling, that this was always boxer versus wrestler matches. And that goes back almost as far as wrestling itself.
Yeah.
And sometimes they were shoots because wrestlers knew, like back in the day, like a good grappler could beat a good striker most of the time in an actual contest. So one of the matches, and it's almost like one of the first MMA fights ever filmed, was, and this was in like 1915, I believe.
Jesus.
There was a catch wrestler, Fred Markuson. He was a German wrestling champion. And he did a boxer versus wrestler match with Jack Johnson, who was he was the first black heavyweight champion of the world.
Wow.
And he was the world.
He didn't sing Banana Pancakes?
Different Jack Johnson. And so this match was
You
very
have no idea. Yeah, that's way
Absolutely
out of
none.
Flake. I think Flake was one of the big songs he did.
There's
He was
zero
like
chance he knows.
He was a
the
surf rock type guy.
Yeah.
You wouldn't like it.
Yeah, you would hate it.
Never heard of this guy. I thought he was a football player.
So this was a very much a shoot, very much an actual legitimate boxer versus wrestler match, and obviously Fred Marcus and the wrestler,
Which couldn't go good or can go very bad, like Ali versus Antonio Inoki.
Yeah, well, maybe that's coming up later. One that didn't happen that I remember they were talking about for like No Way Out or something like that. They were going to do Lennox Lewis against Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
In an actual match when Lesnar was there the first time. So this would have been like 2003.
Lennox Lewis beat Holyfield, right?
Yeah, Lennox Lewis had beaten Holyfield. I think he just beaten Mike Tyson. And his people called up WWE and like, yeah, let's do a boxer versus wrestler match with Brock Lesnar, make it real.
Mm-hmm.
And then they did their research on Brock Lesnar and they're like, nah, never mind.
Yeah.
Nah, we don't want to do that.
Yeah, make it real with that fucking monster.
Yeah. Especially how huge he was then.
Yeah. And then so moving forward a little bit, Cowboy Luttrell, who was a wrestler and referee in Texas, he did a match against Jack Dempsey, I believe in Chicago. This was these from here on in are going to be largely
Boxing.
Worked.
Yeah.
Boxer versus wrestler match. And Jack Dempsey wins this one. He knocked Luttrell out of the ring with a punch, and Luttrell couldn't answer the 10 count to get back in the ring. They did one.
That probably would have caused a shit storm if people actually would have known it was worked. Like, do you think people knew it was worked?
Some people probably.
You would have some people probably did, but a lot of people probably bought it. Especially back then.
There were people who knew wrestling wasn't on the up and up, even by like the 40s.
Yeah. But I would say there's even people that were probably like, they didn't believe anything. I don't know. I believe this boxing's fake.
There's some people that think like football's worked.
Yeah.
Like, or
you ever hear the people?
It's not?
You know, the people are like UFC, that's all work. You never hear that? Yeah. You know, it's like.
Usually the wrestler.
Yeah.
Usually the wrestling fans.
So you also had in 1952 at the Garden. I think this might have been the first one in Madison Square Garden. It was a charity show, a benefit for the Italian Relief Fund. This is post World War II. Antonino Rocca went to a draw with Primo Carnera, who was the former heavyweight champion of the world. Which it was very much like the Rocky 3 thing with Rocky and Thunder Lips, except the boxer is way bigger than the wrestler. Primo Carnera was huge and did a lot of work boxing matches that he took dives.
Rocca was probably more like a cruiserweight.
Yeah.
But like he used to do some like the flying drop kicks and something, which was something in the 50s. You'd be like, holy shit. You know, like
pre-WWF title, like WWF title, he was probably their biggest draw.
Yeah.
Like through the 50s, Capital Wrestling was what it was back then. In fact, he was the one that they said Buddy Rogers beat in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, in a tournament to become the first WWF champion. Speaking of Buddy Rogers, he in 1959 in Montreal, before he was a WWF champion, he defeated Jersey Joe Walcott in less than 2 minutes. And they set up this match by having Walcott be a referee in a match with Rogers and Edouard Carpentier. And then he kind of screwed Rogers out of the win. And then they came back with that match and he's beat Jersey Joe Walcott very quickly. Joe Louis did some of these things. I don't know if he ever wrestled, but he got involved a lot because he had tax problems and he needed the money after he stopped fighting. But the Jersey Joe Walcott thing is very like a thing they tried to do in the 80s. The second Starrcade, I think it was called a Flair for the Gold. And it was Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair. And it was non-title, but they said the winner was going to get $1 million. It was the $1 million challenge. And Flair got the win. It was in Baltimore. And Baltimore has a very strict state athletic commission, more strict than even Pennsylvania, where if you bleed in Baltimore, they will stop it. Like legit, will stop the match. And they did a thing where Dusty bladed, and then Joe Frazier had to stop the match, even for this little cut. And it was supposed to be because they were going to do Joe Frazier against Dusty Rhodes, and then Joe Frazier backed out. So that one did not happen. And then we were talking, Andy brought up Ali. He didn't, do you remember, did you ever see the angle he did with Gorilla Monsoon?
Yeah.
Where he's doing like sparring. It might have even been in Hamburg. I don't know if it might have been in Hamburg. Actually, I think it was in Philly. I think it was at the old arena on Market Street where they did American.
It wouldn't be out of the way, out of the realm to think Hamburg because his training camp was right up the road.
Yeah. But no, this was, I'm pretty sure this was when they were still doing TV in Philly. I think it was pre.
And Muhammad Ali had another celebrity fight.
Yeah, he had a few.
Superman.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, you buy the hardback of it and read that.
So yeah, this is he did have a few. He did a boxer versus wrestler match, but this wasn't a match with Monsoon. Monsoon just picked him up and gave him an airplane spin, and then like Ali just sold it. But then Ali did wrestle in the AWA in Chicago. He wrestled Kenny the Sodbuster J.
What a name.
A famous AWA jobber. Do you know who his son is?
No.
Mickey J. He was a referee.
Oh, okay.
He was a referee in
yeah.
WCW, and then he was in WWF, and then they changed his name to Mickey Henson, which is his real name, when Mickey James came in, because Mickey J and Mickey James were too close together.
Fucking Gorilla Monsoon was that one of those guys who, when I seen him when I was a kid, obviously he was already in his much older time, and then I went back and seen like old photos of him, and like, holy fuck, that dude was a gorilla. He was a
Monsoon too.
Yeah. He was like a big dude.
He was a very large man. Yeah,
he was.
I was like, you look at the old guy, you're like, fuck that old guy. Like, why is everyone fucking scared of him? And then you go back and like you see him back, and then you're like, oh, that's why people are scared of him.
The Manchurian Giant. He was back then, but he was one of those guys. He was like that feared heel. Like he spoke no English. He said he like ate raw meat.
Yeah.
Like I think they said he was a cannibal, and they was just like some nice guy.
Yeah,
and then. And a lounge singer too. That he was a lounge singer,
really,
as well. And then he did a lot behind the scenes. He was the
Richard Cheese.
He was the promoter for a lot of the Philly shows.
Did you see what he bought at Outbreak?
Did I show you the action figure I bought?
Oh yeah, the Bobby Heenan Weasel.
Bobby,
Yeah. I got my Alexa Bliss.
And I bought a Sensi.
Oh, there you go. Hey.
I bought a Sensi pot.
You know he's using Sensi one, but you bought a cool Sensi one.
I did.
It has what's her name on it?
It has all the three female villains.
Oh,
it has
okay.
Ursula,
I thought it was just Ursula.
Ursula, Maleficent, and Evil Witch.
Oh, okay.
And I also bought a Andy Header bandana. And if you go to a show, you should buy one too.
Yeah, you should. Only $5.
Yeah, gotta pay for that ACL surgery.
Yeah. There's only a couple of green left.
Really?
Yeah. I think like one or two. And then I got my shirt.
I think I stole Alex's bandana.
Oh, really?
He let me use it. And I just never gave it back to him.
Yeah, I mean, and he's got to get his knee scoped. He's got appointments all week with Dr. Frank. It's going to be a tough one.
Yeah.
So moving on, then obviously the very famous thing was Ali against Inoki, where the original plan was for Inoki to win that. The original plan was for Ali to throw a punch and to knock out the ref. And then as he's helping the ref up, Inoki kicks him and beats him. But everybody kind of got mistrusting of everybody, and it turned into a shoot.
Yeah.
And Ali didn't want to cooperate, and Inoki just sat back because he didn't get punched. He was throwing leg kicks the whole time.
He was like laying on the ground, kicking up and stuff.
Doing like crab kicks. Very boring.
Yeah, it
was like closed circuit TV, and it wound up being a draw. And then later on, Inoki did wrestle somebody that fought Ali, Leon Spinks. And he beat Leon Spinks by pin in the 8th round. They did a boxer versus wrestler match. Leon Spinks also wrestled Jerry Lawler. And then going on to 1992, that's when Pancrase was coming out. Pancrase was like very early MMA. They did a lot of works too. A lot of the people there were like, we didn't do a lot of works.
Yeah.
They did a lot of work.
Like Pride.
Yeah.
We didn't work things at Pride.
Yeah. But Pancrase was started by Ken Shamrock, was one of the guys who was very big in the beginning. Minoru Suzuki, who was going to be on AEW Rampage. He was one of the founders. One of the other founders was Matsukatsu Funaki, and he did a fight with Roberto Duran.
Ooh, Roberto Duran, who
Hands of Stone.
Sidebar. This is good. My uncle Mike, which is my great uncle, went down to Panama for a few years, right? When he was a kid, well, 20s, and he claimed that Roberto Duran was his son. And he went with a lady down there, and then she had a child, and that child was Roberto Duran. Now, how is that true? Probably not, because he was drunk, but it's fine.
So you should get a DNA test.
Yeah. So Andy's cousin Roberto.
Yeah, I remember.
Masakatsu Funaki.
Great cousin.
Yeah.
And Josh Burnett and a lot of people said this match was a shoot, and Funaki did beat Duran. Butterbean and Mark Merrow, that was a worked boxing match at In Your House to Generation X. Mark Merrow lost by DQ with a low blow. And then you had the Brawl for All at WrestleMania 15, which was legit, and Butterbean knocked the shit out of
put a pro boxer in there with guys that kind of maybe know a little bit about boxing.
I was at that show. Oh man.
And Butterbean just ran.
Ran
Still not his best knockout though.
No.
Him knocking out Johnny Knoxville in a convenience store.
Mark Gunn had some nice knockouts during the Brawl for All. He knocked out Bradshaw. He knocked out Dr. Death. And
I think they should have worked that, but they were too. They could have made a star out of Mark Gunn.
Yeah.
He didn't really have much charisma, but like building off that, and they could have given him a boxer gimmick or something, or Street Fighter gimmick. Could have got him over. Would he have been main event WrestleMania? No, but could he have been Intercontinental Champion?
Sure. Yeah.
But no, instead they had him like disappear for a while because he was learning how to fight.
And then he was New Midnight Express.
Yeah,
Or that might have been
was before that. Yeah,
and then he was nothing.
the only guy he did knock out in that tournament was Bob Holly.
Yeah,
because the opening round was him against his partner.
which they were. But yeah,
It was Bombastic Bob and Bodacious Bart, the New Midnight Express.
was not good.
Floyd Mayweather, of course,
Big
fought
Show.
the Big Show. Beat him by heel chicanery.
He did punch him right in the nose, though.
He legit broke his nose.
That was the lead
build
up.
up,
Yeah. And the person who was helping work with Mayweather because he was about his size was Evan Bourne, Matt Seidel, and he's going to be wrestling the 8th.
Yeah, True Wrestling tour against Tony Deppen.
Against Tony Deppen.
And then the next day,
he's a PPW.
Yeah, how about that?
I won't be at that next show.
Okay,
Oh.
Dirty Dancing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'll be at the Office Festival.
Okay, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll be fun though.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. And speaking of Tony Depp and Pilgrim, their next trivia night, I think it might be next week, next Thursday, is the Office trivia.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
We might have to skip. Record on Wednesday.
So
We
then,
can't record on Wednesday. We'll miss Dynamite.
so then we have we've recorded early enough. Well, no, because
Yeah, then we
recorded
have to
like
rush
6.
home and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
So then you had DX against Tyson and Jericho on Raw when Tyson was the guest host. The guest host area had celebrities on Raw every week, like Bob Barker was on there.
and a lot of times they get involved. Like remember,
Pee Wee Herman.
what's his name? Hugh Jackman punched Dolph Ziggler in the face
Yeah.
or something.
Mhm.
What's his name? Jeremy
Piven.
Piven jumped off the top rope and did
Yep.
something like
That was one of the first ones, and
Yeah.
he called SummerSlam the Summerfest.
Yeah,
I
Summerfest.
remember that.
Steve-O got beat up by Umaga.
Yeah.
Well, they were teasing for a while that they were going to do a jackass thing with one of the SummerSlams, and they just didn't do it.
Yeah, because Steve-O got legit knocked the fuck out on Raw, Monday Night Raw.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when he-
I believe that.
so they had Umaga come down,
Mhm.
and no one really cleared Steve-O on what to do.
Right.
So Steve-O did a
smarten him
backflip,
up.
and then Umaga hit him, and then Steve-O just like kept looking up at him and not selling. So Umaga just
Right, yeah.
started beating the shit out of him, and, like to the point where he knocked him out cold. And then Steve-O was like on the ground. He's like, "Please stop beating."
Would
and
you want a Samoan Matt? Oh
No.
my
and he
God.
was like, "Please stop hit," but he wasn't staying down.
Yeah.
He kept trying to get up,
Oh
and Umaga just beat the fuck out of him.
my God.
He's like, "I don't remember anything after the first punch."
Wow. The other lesser known boxer match during that guest host era, when they did a show in England, and Ricky Hatton was a guest host, the English boxer, and he beat Chavo in a boxer versus wrestler match. You had an actual worked obviously boxing match on when they brought back Saturday Night's Main Event. You had Evander Holyfield against Matt Hardy, and Holyfield just picked them apart. Tyson Fury and Braun Strowman more recently. I'll see that you don't do the boxer versus wrestler as much, but I could see them maybe doing it if they ever have like one of the Paul brothers wrestle. Maybe they'll do like a boxer versus wrestler thing with them because they've been involved in stuff. Logan, I think, was one with Kevin Owens where he got the stunner at WrestleMania.
Yep.
And then there's other athletes too, and a lot of some of your very famous wrestlers were football players. Ernie Ladd is one of the ones that really jumps to mind.
The Rock.
The Rock, but he was CFL.
But he played college.
Like,
Yeah,
well,
he was a national champion.
Yeah, a lot of wrestlers have played. Baron Corbin was in the NFL. Mojo Rawley, I think.
Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar
Made
was in
a
the
practice
NFL
team.
for preseason. Yeah, and but and The Rock played in the CFL. But back in the day, before you had these contracts, they wouldn't let them do it. A lot of the players, because until like the 60s or 70s, a lot of the football players didn't make enough to survive just by playing football.
Yeah, about years ago, they didn't get paid very good. Football players, not like they do nowadays.
Yeah, like now, obviously, even the
I mean, still NFL compared to like baseball, basketball, hockey.
because there's so many people on the roster.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And they have a salary cap. But yeah, like even your league minimum guys now are making $400,000 a year though, so it's not like they're missing meals. But with the back in the day, like a lot of the wrestlers would, or a lot of the football players would wrestle in the off season. Or I think that's what Ernie Ladd got started. He started making more money wrestling, so he's like, I'm going to quit football. Wahoo McDaniel was a famous New York Jet when they were in the AFL. One of the early NWA champions, Bronco Nagurski, was a great football player. I think in college they still have like a Bronco Nagurski award. I think it goes to like the best linebacker. And then you didn't really see it for a lot. You would have people come in here and there. But in WrestleMania 2 in Chicago, you had the Battle Royal, the NFL versus the WWF Battle Royal. And they had a bunch of, what was every man for himself, but they had a bunch of football players. You had Bill Fralick, you had Jim Covert, Russ Francis, whose father, I believe, was a wrestler, Ernie Holmes. Harvey Martin, and the big one was William the Refrigerator Perry. And he had the big. If you did you ever watch this? Either of you?
I've never seen the match, but I know who the Fridge is. Oh, Perry.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Yeah, it was a battle royal.
Yeah.
And then the Fridge had a big square off with Big John Studd. And John Studd eliminates him, and he's like, "Oh, you got me, all right." So shake my hand, and then he pulled John Studd out. And this was the WrestleMania that was over 3 different cities. They never did this again because it was a disaster.
Yeah, it was not. A good
And they just edited it all together.
Well, the first part of the show was from New York. It was like
they would like because they all did
closed circuit.
Yeah, so they would say, "Well, now we're going to Chicago," and they would show you a match from Chicago. Then they
so the people in New York have to still keep watching matches going on
the
there?
Jumbotron.
Yes.
Or do they have to see a Jumbotron?
Jumbotron.
Okay,
because they didn't. Starrcade did something similar around the same time. The second or third Starrcade was in Atlanta, I believe, and Greensboro, and they would do one match in one place and they would go back and forth. WrestleMania 2, they did all the New York matches, all the Long Island matches, all the matches at the Rosemont Horizon, and then they did all the matches in LA, which is where they did like Bundy and Hogan, and Elvira was one of the announcers.
Alice Cooper.
How about Elvira?
That was WrestleMania 3.
Yeah.
She just came out as bisexual?
I guess so. She said she's been dating a woman for 19 years.
Yeah.
Good for her.
It's awesome.
I don't blame her.
Alice Cooper was WrestleMania 3. He came out with Jake.
That's
right.
And he threw the snake in the ring and everyone scattered.
Jimmy Hart. Yeah. No, the announcers though for 2, it was in New York. It was Vince McMahon and Susan St. James, who was on Kate and Alley.
Who was the girl was it not Pep Benatar?
Well, yeah, I know who you're saying with Captain Lou. Wendy.
Oh, Cyndi Lauper.
Yeah,
Cyndi Lauper.
I didn't include her in this because she didn't wrestle. Like I try to keep people just wrestle.
No, that's a good call. That's a good call.
But she was very involved in WrestleMania 1 for sure.
Mhm.
But then the big one in WrestleMania 1 was obviously Mr. T, who did wrestle. But as far as like athletes, LT and Bam Bam, that was the main event of WrestleMania 11.
I have to go back and rewatch that, but I remember as a kid I thought it was a good match.
It was, for the time, it was very passable. Like now it's just like it's kind of slow and plodding, and Lawrence Taylor doesn't do a lot. Apparently he got blown up very early.
Yeah,
and
which a lot of people, when they get in there, they're just so excited. And just think then they think you have to, like a lot of times when you're a new wrestler, I have to do everything real fast.
Here's my question.
Slow down.
Getting blown up. I'm sure you've experienced it, right? Is it just like you just get tired? Like
what was that?
Explain.
Okay, so imagine I asked you to move boxes up the steps, and you, instead of pick one up at a time, you're like real fast, and you run 5 of them, and you're just like, and you're winded,
and you just can't get your breath back.
Yeah, and you're gonna need to stop and take a break. That would be blown up. It's
okay.
Like, it's like,
I'm not saying that it would never happen to me.
Yeah,
but like growing up as a soccer and a basketball player, I just don't.
Everyone has their levels of
absolutely. It's
cardio.
just like when someone's like, "Oh, I blew up after a minute." It's like, what are you doing outside of the ring? You know what I mean?
That's what I say.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get a little mad if they say it and it's early on. I'm like, what do you mean? Like,
so when someone tells you, "Hey, I'm blowing up," do you go to a rest hold for a minute?
Yeah, just throw them out of the ring. Let them take a break. Let them take a breather. But sometimes it's like, you gotta keep going. There's a certain tag team I was in. I'll tell you that off there. And it's like, I'm blowing up. I'm like, no, we have to keep going. Because we had a celebrity, not a celebrity, a name in the match. I'm like, we ain't. Nope. Keep going.
There's someone on the indie scene in a tag team who always throws up.
Yes. Might be the same person. I was like, you ain't stopping.
I almost stepped in his puke.
Oh, that's a problem, though. I mean, that's like, if you have something like that, then that's something you should work on, because like that's gonna keep coming back. Like,
yeah.
Some people don't have a lot of cardio, but then it's like, if you know that, work on it.
Yeah.
You know, like.
And what sometimes like screw with people if they're new, like just make them run the ropes a lot. Like
and then certain people fuck with
try to blow them up. Yeah.
I'm like, let's do this running spot. It's like, I know what's gonna happen. Not to me, but I know what's gonna happen.
And then when LT did the match with Bam Bam, you had the $1 Million Corporation in Bam Bam's corner, and then you had LT's All Pro team, which were all these
Kevin Green,
players, Carl Banks, Reggie White, and the one that really stuck with wrestling, and even did an angle where he did a fight with Kama before WrestleMania, who became the Godfather later, was Steve McMichael. He was in WWF first, and it looked like they were going to build up a match with him and Kama.
Yeah, because I guess he already said he wanted to wrestle, showed interest.
Mm-hmm. But then WCW came calling, and he wound up jumping ship. And that later that year was when Nitro started. Later that year is when Nitro started. And while he's training, he was an announcer. Like the original announce team for Nitro was Eric Bischoff, Bobby Heenan, and Steve McMichael. And he had his little dog.
Yeah, I hated it.
Pepper? No, Pepper.
I did not like. I didn't
Pepper
like.
was Al Snow's dog.
Yeah,
I did not. I wasn't a fan of the commentary team.
I didn't like his dog either.
Bischoff is not a good announcer, and Mongo is not a good announcer.
And Bobby just fucked with Mongo the whole time.
Yeah, Bobby Heenan is maybe I think the second greatest color commentator of all time. But yeah, he didn't have a lot to work with. And so yeah, Mongo does in the Great American Bash the next year, he does have his first match, and it's Mongo and Kevin Green, the NFL guys, against Ric Flair and Arn Anderson. My favorite thing about this is I believe it is the last match ever Bobby Heenan managed.
Oh, wow.
He was the Horsemen's coach.
Okay, yeah.
Because Randy Savage was the coach for the football players, and then Bobby Heenan was in Flair and Arn's corner. And I remember they do a thing with the wives, like Kevin Green's wife and Deborah McMichael's wife, and they walk back. And then Deborah comes out with this big briefcase full of money, and it's like, yeah, they're gonna give Mongo a lot of money to join the Horsemen. And she's like, it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
and he closes the briefcase. He's thinking about it a lot, and he just clocks Kevin Green in the head with the briefcase, and the Horsemen win. And then he becomes a Horseman.
Yeah.
I think Kevin Green had 2 matches.
He had a few. Because I think
maybe even 3.
I think he did a match with McMichael shortly after that. And then they did that 6-man tag when the NWO came in.
Yeah.
It was Hall, Nash, and Six against Flair, Piper, and Kevin Green.
Yeah.
He did a few.
Speaking of the NWO,
the late Kevin Green, he did recently pass. And Mongo is in very bad shape now through his ALS. Speaking of the NWO, Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman would famously join the NWO, and his first match was a tag match. It was Dennis Rodman and Hulk Hogan against DDP and Karl Malone. And it's happening while Dennis Rodman's Chicago Bulls and Karl Malone's Utah Jazz are in the NBA Finals against one another. During the
it's
playoffs.
Crazy.
There's a great documentary. I think you can find it on Netflix now. It was on ESPN2 called The Last Dance. And they even cover it during that about how, they would be playing against each other one night, and then the next night they're doing a wrestling match.
Yeah. And Rodman was I guess on too strict of a regiment in his life, he wasn't allowed to go party, he wasn't allowed to do anything, and he literally looked at Jordan and he's like, "Give me the weekend, give me the weekend. I gotta fucking cut
I gotta do
loose."
something, yeah.
And they're like, all right. And he literally turned his phone off. He went to Vegas for a weekend. And that's when he joined the he went in that weekend, he showed up on Nitro.
Yeah. Isn't that when he married Carmen Electra too?
Married Carmen Electra and he was videotaped just doing an insane amount of drugs in Vegas and showed up Monday morning at practice.
Yeah.
High as fuck.
But he made it.
Yep. But he was like, thank you for giving me the weekend. Yeah.
The other wrestling tie-in to The Last Dance is in the last episode, it's when the Bulls win the NBA Finals, and they show them going back to the hotel, and there's all these people in the lobby there to greet them and congratulate them. Clear as day, one of them is the Sandman.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Around this time with Malone and Rodman, isn't that when Jay Leno showed up too?
Yeah.
That was a few months later. And it was always DDP they would be involved with.
Yeah.
DDP, because Rodman or Malone would do the diamond cutter too.
They all liked his wife.
Yeah.
No, who wouldn't?
Yeah. I'm gonna work with the rest of the hot.
And if you want to see his wife, you watch a 40-year version during the dating segment, and the girls who boobies fall out. That's Kimberly
just
Page.
one boob, right?
Yeah,
just one boob.
But it keeps coming out.
That'll be a little bit later. We're just kind of covering the rest of the athletes here.
Sorry.
Oh, it's fine. No, we're just
the Xbox comes out at 9, so I can come down for a little bit.
And then in 2007 in TNA, 2007 is when Pac-Man Jones got suspended because there was a shooting in a club.
Yeah.
And he wound up paralyzing somebody, I think, or somebody in his group did. And so he was banned from football for years. He's like, I'm gonna go wrestle. TNA threw a bunch of money at him. He played for the Tennessee Titans. They were still headquartered in Tennessee at this time. And they're like, okay, but you can't do anything. Under your contract,
couldn't do anything physical because you get hurt.
You can't touch anybody or be touched by somebody in any way that could possibly hurt you. So he still came in and said he was going to wrestle, but he just never wrestled. His first match, it was the tag team titles. It was Team Pac-Man, which was him and Ron the Truth Killings, R-Truth, against Sting. It was Sting and Kurt Angle were the champions, and Angle turned on Sting. Truth did the whole match, and then Pac-Man tagged it again and just pinned Sting after Kurt Angle had laid him out. And then, so they had to get they did the Freebird rule where Pac-Man in the matches, his place was taken by Rashid Lucius Creed.
Yeah.
Consequences Creed.
You know who that is?
Oh, Xavier,
Yeah,
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Xavier Woods.
He was, what's his name? He was Apollo Creed's son.
Yeah.
That was the storyline.
Before the movie.
Before the movies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The character in the movie had a son in real life.
Yeah.
And he.
What if they
his
made
son.
that kayfabe where Michael B. Jordan has to play now?
I
him-
like it.
Him in a real movie.
Yeah, do it.
And then they did wind up losing the titles to AJ Styles and Tomko. And shortly after that, Pac-Man was gone, and then Truth went to the WWE. And then the more recent football guy was Deangelo Williams, who was a former running back for the Panthers and the Pittsburgh Steelers and maybe one or two other teams. When he was between teams, so he wasn't under any kind of contract, he teamed with Moose, who was also a very accomplished football player.
Yeah.
I don't know if he ever cracked the pros, but he was a very good college football player. They defeated Chris Adonis, formerly Chris Masters, and Eli Drake, the current LA Knight.
Yeah.
And people thought Deangelo Williams was excellent. They thought it was one of the better matches.
I think I watched it. It was pretty.
Yeah, and he just I just want to do the one.
Didn't he have a
That's it.
really high leapfrog?
Yeah, I think he did a forfeit or a frog splash or something. Yeah. And then the most recent one, obviously, would be last year. We had Pat McAfee.
Great match.
Yeah,
The War Games and then the singles match with Adam Cole. Which I had no faith in, but he did very good.
Yeah, and
some would say the best.
Yeah, especially because there's always a joke that the kicker and the punter aren't really athletes.
Oh, okay.
But he was very good.
Hate that, by the way.
I think that was the best celebrity match since Stephen Amell versus Christopher Daniels.
Yeah. And
that was very good at the 1 RH pay-per-view.
And then you had the one, there was a lot of bells and whistles, smoke and mirrors, but Shaq and Jay Cargill beating Cody and Red Velvet. And Shaq was also in the Andre Battle Royal when they did it in Dallas, WrestleMania 32. Then a few athletes did get the 24/7 title. Enes Kanter, basketball player for the Knicks. Gronk.
Yeah.
Gronk is, I think, had the longest reign. And
Gronk wrestled at a Mania. He came in and he didn't wrestle a full match, but he just came in and did a spot.
Yeah, and then the one security guard, she tried to stop him. She didn't know his plan. My favorite thing with that is, he distracted Jinder, and then Mojo Rawley threw him out. And then the next year is when the Eagles beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. And they have a thing of Gronk just looking sad on the sidelines, and Jinder just goes, shouldn't have hindered. It was my favorite thing Jinder Mahal ever did.
The guy's a GOAT. Greatest of all time, Jinder Mahal.
Greatest of some time?
That night. Well, no, the greatest that night.
He entertained the fuck out of me. I don't know.
So other celebrities that have won the 24/7 title, you had Marshmello, the DJ. Kyle Busch, the NASCAR driver, won the 24/7 title. Rob Stone, not the guy from NXT, not Rob Echoes. Rob Stone, a college football studio guy for Fox Sports. Peter Rosenberg, the personality, the radio guy.
Did Pete Rhodes wrestle? No.
Pete Rose only did
he interfered with Kane. And did he come out one? Yeah, he came out one Royal Rumble, and then Kane immediately beat him up.
I don't think it was. You're thinking of Drew Carey.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Pete Rose he did 3 WrestleManias.
He was a really good baseball player who got caught gambling on his own team to win.
Yeah. But hey, I mean that shows confidence.
Yeah.
And then in his book he had to think about I bet on baseball. And in Bobby Heenan's first book, he's at the very beginning, he's like, I have a confession to make. I bet on wrestling. So the first time was in Boston. And it's funny because it was before the Red Sox won that World Series, and then they won 2 or 3 more.
How about
it? I left tickets at will call for Bill Buckner. He couldn't pick them up. How about it? So he's just he was the ring announcer for Undertaker against Kane, and he's just totally being a heel.
Yeah, so somebody knew enough to smarten him up, and he could do it.
City of losers, because back then Boston was, and now it's anything but.
There's a guy on TV right now doing that. I think he's doing a good job. You hate it.
Oh, yeah. Dan Lambert.
Oh, God. Yeah, he's just still in Jim Cornette's shtick. Even Jim Cornette said on his podcast, then Dan Lambert came out and did my thing.
Then Kane comes out and chokeslams Pete Rose. And then the next year, WrestleMania is in Philly, and Kane's coming out. He wrestled Triple H that night. And Pete Rose is dressed up as the San Diego Chicken, the world famous chicken. He jumps him from the back and starts beating on him. And then he just got chokeslammed again. And then the last time they did it was WrestleMania 16, WrestleMania 2000. I think Kane was in like some tag match, and he came in and did a run in during the match.
I got Tombstone.
And
That
I think he
time.
got stink face that
Yeah.
time. I think Rikishi was
Just
in the
keep
match.
picking on Kane at all
Yeah.
people.
It was pretty cool because like, wait, who's that? It's Pete Rose. It's like, what?
Well, I remember when they were doing those therapy skits, and he said it's like he's going through all the crazy. Kane's going through all the crazy stuff. He's on his screen. He's like, he's talking about like the Katie Vick
Yeah.
thing, and I hooked up my boss's son's testicles to a car battery. I was engaged in a multi-year long vendetta with Pete Rose, and they're like, okay.
Before we get into actors and musicians here, there is one subcategory.
Oh, two other real quick. The other Doug Flutie was a 24/7 champion very briefly, and Bad Bunny.
Yeah,
we'll talk about more later.
I want one subcategory.
Mhm.
I want President of the United States of America.
He didn't have a match.
He was managing someone.
Yeah,
but he did a spot, or he took a bump.
He took a stunner.
Maybe the worst stunt of all time. Linda McMahon's up there too.
Mm-hmm.
But he
that's
also
probably one, too.
tackled Vince and beat him up a
Oh
little bit.
God, yeah.
Yeah.
And his entrance music, money, 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 money. It's just like,
Yeah. By the way, that angle they did, obviously we're talking about Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And they did an angle either before or after that where he bought Raw.
yeah.
And he was going to be like, they were going to have him as like an every week character, like as the owner of Raw. And then
It's hilarious.
the day after they did the angle where he bought Raw, if you think kayfabe was 100% dead, it's not. The day after he bought Raw, their stock tanked because they thought Donald Trump bought Raw for real. And it went down so bad. They're like, we have to get rid of this angle.
Yeah.
And so Vince came out the next week. He's like, I bought it back.
With my millions, McMahon's million.
Because people were so gullible. They thought Donald Trump really bought Raw. And like any of his other businesses, he would have run it in the ground. So they didn't like that. The shareholders were not happy.
All right, let's get into actors and musicians.
I like this Bobby Lindsay. He's real good.
My favorite thing is there's that picture of when Trump was president. There's a picture like right after he got elected, because Linda was a small business secretary. She was part of his cabinet, and then she ran like a super PAC to help him get reelected. But there's that picture, and it's Trump and Vince and Linda, Triple H, Stephanie, Shane's wife, and all their kids. And it's like, Stone Cold Steve Austin has given the Stone Cold Stunner to 56% of the people in this picture. It's like, oh, he's got to stun the kids. Come on. The kids have to take one for the team, and Shane's wife.
Yeah.
They have to
She should get in there. Should have got in there.
Get one stunner.
So yeah, actors, musicians, perhaps the most successful of all celebrity wrestlers, the former WCW World Heavyweight Champion, David Arquette.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And the match was DDP was the champion. And they wanted to do DDP and David Arquette against Jeff Jarrett and Eric Bischoff.
To set up a movie.
Well, this was all in service of a movie, Ready to Rumble.
Yeah, and he was already real hot from
not a bad movie.
For a dumb comedy.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
fine for
it's
what
not,
it is.
don't go in expecting Lord of the Rings or anything.
Yeah.
But he was also red hot from Scream. I think Scream 2 was probably out by then.
Yeah, he was married to Courtney Cox.
Yeah, so he was like very, very famous in 99.
Yeah, he was a fairly big celebrity. And Tony Schiavone was the one that came up with it. He's like, well, why don't we have David Arquette win the WCW title? And Vince was like, bro, that is brilliant.
Think of all the odds.
Think outside the box.
Yeah.
This is when we say think outside the box. You don't want to think too far outside the box. The box is there for a reason.
Mhm.
So yeah, they do a thing where like whoever gets the winning fall will become the WCW champion. And they do a thing where Paige is trying to pin Jarrett and Arquette's trying to pin Bischoff. Arquette's legal 1, 2, 3. So David Arquette is your WCW champion. And then remember they're gonna have him wrestle like Tank Abbott. He's like, I'm gonna die. And then that was to set up the movie, because then it was right before, I believe it was Slamboree, and it was a triple cage match. It was like they had a 3-level cage. And it was supposed to be DDP against Jarrett, but now it was going to be DDP, Arquette, and Jarrett in a 3-way. And DDP and Jarrett are fighting at the bottom. Arquette climbs up. He's like, he could have won.
Yeah.
Like you had to go up to the very top of the top cage, like on the roof of the top cage, and grab the belt. He was standing up there. Because they had like the top cage. It had all these guitars because Jarrett would hit people with the guitar. So he climbs up there where DDP and Jarrett are fighting. Like David Arquette could win. He could just grab the title.
Yeah.
But it's only because he didn't want to be champion. And so he was standing guard with the guitar, and then obviously because it's Vince Russo booking, DDP comes up, he hits him with the guitar and turns heel because nobody will expect it.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. That's why nobody
Yeah.
expects it. Nobody at Outbreak Wrestling expected me to become the Outbreak champion because it would be fucking stupid.
Bro, what if?
I got an idea.
Ryan Vox, if you're listening, we have a cameraman who would be a great champion.
Should win the title.
Just take the camera off. I could have hit Andy in the knee. I'm in the match now.
No, I'm the champion. There's Tori. She said hello. I don't know if she just.
Yeah, I put up in the chat. Hey, Tori, if you're still here, Tori, go check out the new website. Tell me what you think. All right, good.
So yeah, Arquette was a champion. And then he did come back to wrestling later. He had the infamous match with Nick Gage where he got his neck cut pretty bad, and he did some other matches too. He did a hair match with Josephus, the question mark. The guy just passed away.
Yeah.
He wrestled a lot like on the indie scene too.
Yeah, in LA.
PPW was trying to bring him in and then it fell through.
Really?
Yeah.
He did a lot of stuff.
Would you wrestle him?
City.
Yeah, I was actually on the list of. So I was like, oh man, this would be great. Just for I don't do much,
And one of the cool things, especially back in that WCW run, a lot of the money, I think all the money he made, he donated to Owen Hart's family and I believe Brian Pillman's family.
Yeah.
Like he didn't pocket his salary,
which is kind of nuts because I know it's kind of halfway through. Just because we didn't talk about it in the beginning. Owen Hart, the Owen Hart Foundation, has officially made a deal with AEW that they're going to do an Owen Hart tournament.
The Owen Cup.
The Owen
Cup.
More
Owen
merch,
Hart.
right?
Huh?
More merch.
Owen Hart will get more merch.
He'll be in the video game.
He will be featured in the video. Yeah. All media for the most part.
Yeah.
Like anything they do with media.
And that action figure will sell like hotcakes.
Yeah.
They Owen need AW shirt. He'll be in the trading cards. I mean, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think of the legends in that game. Owen, Arn, Tully, Jake, Sting. Like, wow. Probably Ric Flair.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, once things cool down.
It'll blow over.
Yeah.
He'll change his finisher. Helicopter spin.
Oh, yeah. Woo!
Did you see, who did it on AEW? Kenny Omega did it. They did something where it was like a typical Ric Flair move, and he did this.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah,
I forget what he did. I think he chopped, and then the crowd went woo, and he went. It was hilarious.
Once Charlotte gets there, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then
that should be Charlotte's new gimmick.
Yeah, it should
She
be.
just forces herself on men.
How awesome would that be? It's just a gimmick, just character people. Charlotte.
I'll bang any dude in this crowd,
and you're gonna like it. I think that would be so over.
I'll even bang the fat one and make him cry.
I'll be in room 216 if any of you little boys want to come see what a real woman's like.
Turn you into a man.
Yeah,
they kind of did that.
Be awesome
on that Impact thing with the where they did
ODB.
That was ODB's gimmick. Yeah. And no, the Impact show was like their version of Southpaw Regional Wrestling. Where they did a whole show
when the four of them were like the female four horsemen.
Yeah, and it was like Tessa and Jordan Grace. I forget the other ones.
Oh, another bit of little news. What's his name? Announced he's coming back.
Leah Rush.
Marty Scurll.
Yeah.
Oh, in Puerto Rico. Yeah.
And one of the first pieces of commented and said, "Proud of you," is Tessa Blanchard. I was like, everyone to come to your defense. You're like, oof.
They could all just have their own company.
Federation. There is enough. Yeah. And who would do anything?
All the Me Too people, all the speaking out people can just start their own.
Yeah.
Their own company. Tessa, Marty, it'll be great.
Yeah.
Called the CFU. Oh,
yeah.
It's already taken.
Yeah, I can't do CFU.
That one's already taken.
CWF, canceled wrestling. There's a million CWFs too. Yeah, Quack can do their school.
What Velveteen Dream?
Yeah, Dream could be in there.
What's his name?
Joey Ryan.
That was my dick thing.
Oh my god.
Oh man,
you could have a hell of a Fed there if they didn't, do what they did.
Yeah, nobody would go, but
no one's supported, but they can they can just wrestle in front of
a lot of people there,
or in front of people. And listen, and if people who do go there and wear their merch, then we know.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah, if you buy the shirt,
people are like, I'm cool with what you did.
Del Rio.
Yeah. Instead of
like the title.
Instead of masked wrestlers, you have masked fans. I don't know anybody.
Yeah. And then when you see people in the street wearing their merch, you're like, oh, you.
Yeah.
You. Hey, bud.
Mr. T, also one of the more famous
Teddy Hart.
Really
Sorry.
This kind of good show.
Yeah. Quite a couple matches.
Yeah. Yeah, you could do no B Priestley didn't really. I'm thinking who could wrestle Tessa. Did any other women get like
Oh,
really?
Sexy Star.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, she could be there.
Tessa and Sexy Star? There you go.
That actually be a good match.
Yeah.
They'd beat the shit out of each other.
You could throw what's her name in there because people like Evilise.
Yeah, Evilise. That's about it. Yeah.
Jimmy Havoc.
This is the our side tangent. We're building a canceled federation.
Mr. T obviously was a huge part of the first WrestleMania. One of the
who's the guy who booked ROH?
Oh, Rob Feinstein. He could be your promoter.
Yeah, he could be cameraman.
Yeah.
Cameraman promoter. Yeah.
There you go.
I'm trying to think of announcers you could have.
Oh, who's canceled? And you know who could announcer? What's his name? Haggerty can announce.
Yeah.
Oh my god, we're gonna get in trouble for this episode.
Dave Lagana can do your booking.
Hey, we didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah. What's Rory Gulak?
Boy, just the worst of the worst.
Off the rails.
You get a couple of Scarlett guys.
Just the worst of the worst people.
Oh my.
And then the first Hall of Fame inductee could be Superfly.
Yeah.
How good is that?
Yeah.
Dark Side of the Ring wrestling.
Yeah.
There you go.
Dark Side of the Ring wrestling. Yeah, they could have like first ever Hall of Fame will be him and like
Rock
Jake
and
the
Rebel
Snake
Memorial
Dad,
Cup.
Yeah.
Oh god.
No, they just dedicate the ring to him because then that way he held the ring hostage and the licensing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I use a dead person's license in here?
Yeah. Is that allowed?
He left me 10 grand.
Jason Rance.
Yeah.
We're not saying we
They get
support.
the ring from him.
Yeah.
We're not saying we support this company.
No, we hate it.
We hate this
You
company.
can go see it all you want.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'll pirate it. Okay. I'll go on.
Yeah, this is what we'll say. Go on
Baked.live, the former Taima.tv.
Oh, Baked.live. That's Time-Out?
Taima.tv.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Baked.live. Have to remember that. Baked.live.
All right, we're at
WatchWrestling.la.
hour 30. Let's get through
Let's
this
just run through Mr. T, obviously, with the first WrestleMania and the second WrestleMania. He did a boxing match with Piper.
And then he was also in WCW, but I don't think he wrestled.
He did. He wrestled Kevin Sullivan at Starrcade.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And he was a referee for the Hogan Flair cage match.
And he had that old Scrooge hat on.
Yeah. And then he had that famous Hall of Fame induction.
Oh, yeah.
Where he just talked about his
mama.
His mama for 20 minutes, and Kane had to come out and be like, stop.
And WWE made an awesome music video out of it.
Did they?
Yes, they did. It's awesome.
I had to look it up.
Perhaps the most famous wrestler outside of like WWF, WCW was Andy Kaufman. The legendary program with Lawler.
That has to be probably the number one of all time. Like when people think celebrity encounters,
probably.
Yes, they made
Lawler
the movie Man on the Moon
and Kaufman.
Like wrestling fans might think David Arquette because he won the title, but yeah, for outside people, it's Kaufman.
Because that people legit bought into that.
Like if people remember Andy Kaufman, they're gonna remember him for Taxi or that. Those are the two things.
Yeah,
and I think Bill Apter was the one that put it together because McMahon didn't have any interest. He wanted to do WWF because he grew up in New York. That was his home. But yeah, Memphis is like Bill Apter's like, yeah, Memphis is crazy. They'll do anything. They'll take you.
Jerry will do it.
Yeah. Well, they had to kind of smarten Kaufman up because they did the thing where in the first show they did the Mid-South Coliseum, they did the pile driver, and then Kaufman this wasn't something that they told him to do. He just acted like he was paralyzed.
Yeah.
And they'd stretch him out. He was like in the hospital.
He paid a hospital bill for no reason.
Yeah.
Like they're like, all right, get up and get out. He goes, send an ambulance.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's gonna cost you $50. We're not paying it.
Yeah.
He goes, whatever it costs, get me in an ambulance.
Jim Carrey tried to do the same thing to Lawler during the filming of Man on the Moon. They're like, stop it, Jim.
Yeah.
But no, like, because they would do like the loop after the Memphis show. They would do the kind of the same show like in Knoxville and all these other cities along their loop. Like Memphis was their Monday show. And he tried to do it again. And they're like, Andy, you can't do it. Like people travel, they'll know. Like if you do it over and over again, you can't do it. You have to get up.
Yeah.
Like they have to smarten him up on that.
Yeah.
And he had a bit of a run there. Bad Bunny just recently did the match with Damian Priest.
Not a horrible match.
Yeah, that was high.
I didn't even watch it.
It was pretty good. And he did a bit. He did a bit with Morrison and Miz.
Oh, okay.
Jay Leno, we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
That was in Sturgis. That was Road Wild. Or that was because the first one was Hog Wild. Then they were Road Wild after that.
That's when Jim Cornette says that's when the business was killed. Jay Leno put Hogan in the wrist lock.
Because the way they build it up was Bischoff had a talk show on Nitro. It was NWO Nightcap. And they would actually get Leno's monologue from the night before, and he would do it on the show. And he got in trouble because from Turner Standards and Practices because he told like a Monica Lewinsky joke. They're like, you can't do that. And they literally told Bischoff, you can't have anything on your show that you wouldn't want a 5-year-old to watch.
Yeah.
Like it's wrestling.
Yeah.
I watched wrestling when I was 5.
Yeah.
So yeah, it wound up being DDP and Leno against Bischoff and Hogan. Because Leno was a big motorcycle guy, he's a big car guy, big motorcycle guy, and this was at the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally. And yeah, he did put Hogan in the wrist lock. Well, didn't DDP do the wrist lock and then he tagged in and Leno took it over?
And then for the WCW trading card set, Jay Leno got a card and I have it.
Yeah,
and it's him with Hogan.
I think that's on our post.
Those Road Wild shows were crazy because a lot of those people did not care about wrestling.
No, and they got him for free.
And some of them just liked to boo the black guy.
Yeah,
there were a lot of racist bikers.
Really?
Yeah. Dennis Rodman did a match with Randy Savage at one of them. Oh. And it was Randy Savage was a heel in the NWO, and I think Rodman was a babyface, and Randy Savage got cheered.
Yep.
Harlem Heat got some. Yeah.
Imagine that.
And Rodman's the kind of guy who'll hold you up a railing.
Yeah. Drew Carey was in the 2001 Royal Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
Did he eliminate the Hardys, or did they eliminate himself? Because there was a while where he was just in the ring by himself.
I think
I think they were fighting on the top rope, and he wanted to push them out. I forget.
Yeah.
But then, he's like in there by himself, and then Kane's music hits, and he's like, "Uh-oh."
Yeah.
And then he eliminated himself. He like just stepped over the top rope. He's like, "Bye, everybody.
See you later."
More recently in the Andre Battle Royal, you had Michael Che and Colin Jost from.
I remember that.
From the.
Weren't they on Raw for a couple weeks?
Yeah, they were always like making fun of Braun Strowman.
Yeah.
And that was a whole gimmick, and Colin Jost especially, which is funny. He's like, I was one that was like the big part of all the things. Che's the wrestling fan. Like I'm basically doing this for him.
Yeah.
And
what's his name? He's married. Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah. Ooh, talk about dating above your pay grade.
Killing it. Well, he's a good looking guy.
I know.
Those SNL guys, they tend to attract people.
Yeah, but Scarlett, that's A+.
Like Pete Davidson dated so many people.
Yeah.
Ariana Grande.
Oh wow.
Michael Che was one who was a big fan, and Colin Jost was one. Yeah, he like did a thing where like Braun like ripped off the door of his car or something, and it was a whole big thing. Stephen Amell, we talked about on and off here. He did a few matches. The big one was at SummerSlam, the first one where it was him and Neville against Bad News Barrett and Stardust. He did a match with Ring of Honor in 2017 for Survival of the Fittest. It was him, Cody, Kenny, and the Young Bucks against Flip Gordon and SCU. And that's where he went through the table.
Flip Gordon, whatever happened to him?
He's still in Ring of Honor.
I have one of his autographs.
And then he did the All-In match with Christopher Daniels, and now he's doing that show Heels on Stars.
And I think of Prime Wrestling on AEW as
well. Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Yes.
And he also, the other thing he's doing is he was a partner in Knocking Point Vineyards, which made a little bit of the bubbly.
Yeah.
That was his winery, yeah. And I think he has some kind of wrestling theme thing for Heels, too. I forget what it's called. The Misfits did the stuff in WCW. Jerry Only wrestled beat Dr. Death Steve Williams in a cage match because Dr. Death threw him through the door and he landed outside. And then they did a match with Dr. Death in Oklahoma against Jerry Only and Vampiro.
Yeah.
And WrestleMania 27, you had Snooki, Trish Stratus, and John Morrison beating Dolph Ziggler and Lay Cool. Are we really going to close on Snooki?
Yeah, she did do the cartwheel backflip thing.
We're going to close because if we don't say it, Pete will kill us all.
Pete Rose?
Pete Long. ICP.
Yeah, ICP. Yeah. They did a dark match with Ring of Honor. They did. I don't think they ever wrestled in ECW, but they did like a spot on the second pay-per-view.
They wrestled at FWA one time in Palo Alto, Pennsylvania.
They just showed up.
They stopped at Dairy Queen, I think, and they seen the flyer for it, and they came over, and then they said, "Hey, can we be on the show?"
Here's the thing.
They set up their own promotion.
Here's the thing. Music-wise, I liked them when I was a kid because they were funny and they did like dick and piss jokes. But as you grow older and you learn about what they stand for and kind of the things they were doing, not horrible people.
I wouldn't say they're horrible people. Their fans are horrible.
Some of them can be.
Yeah.
You know what they firmly stand on?
I think
anti-pedophilia.
Really? Well, that's good.
Yeah. Anti-racism.
That's good, yeah.
Anti-racism.
Good.
All free love for everybody.
Which is good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the best wrestlers, though.
Yeah.
Not the best wrestlers.
Absolutely horrible in the ring. And I would say the same for the music.
They're kind of like Nick Gage, where you see Nick Gage, you don't realize how like woke he is and how like progressive he is. You know what I mean? Like,
that's cool. I mean, a lot of the fans don't like to bathe.
Oh,
You know, that's
They're wrestling fans. Sorry, guys.
made me think of a few others. Obviously, the reason we're talking about this is Ron Funches just wrestled Tony Deppen.
Mhm.
Let's talk about that match.
ECW. Very, very fun match. Obviously, Ron Funches is not going to be confused at any time for Bryan Danielson or Kenny
He lost
Omega.
a lot of weight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's still a bigger guy. I think he's like they announced him at 230. Still a bigger guy. He was much bigger than Tony Deppen.
And he wore a fucking singlet.
Singlet.
good for him.
A little bit of a low
yeah.
singlet too.
Yeah.
Like the size of the singlet were low. Yeah, Ron Funches used to be close to 400 pounds. I
Wow.
think. And he lost about 140 pounds.
Wow. good
And
for him.
and like I'm not like this is not picking on him at all, but like the low singlet
Shows a lot.
It shows a lot.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
for him to be that body confident
Mhm.
to go out there and show off like that, like good for him.
Because usually when they're a celebrity or anyone wrestles, it's a t-shirt and
Sting,
jogger pants.
Sting wrestles in a t-shirt right
Yeah.
now. And that guy's been shirtless in front of everybody his whole career.
Yeah.
So for a guy that was 400 pounds to drop down and
Mhm.
show his
Doesn't
body,
wrestle at all. Yeah.
yeah, that's good for him. That takes a lot of balls.
Mhm.
You know,
Wow.
be a chubby dude and take your shirt off in front of people.
No,
it's
I will
fucking
not.
terrifying.
I'm
It's a
not.
scary thought.
I don't like taking my shirt
Well,
off in
if your
front of
name-
myself.
If your
Yeah.
name is Dusty Rose, baby,
Yeah,
most recognizable athlete.
I have a lot of respect for people that can do that. It's like, ooh, I wouldn't do it. Yeah, but fun match.
Yeah,
Fun just landed a Canadian destroyer.
the Fun Trap Supreme is what he
The
called it.
Fun Trap Supreme. He is a wrestling fan.
His
They had
manager, he had a manager, Paul Shear, who is a comedian. If you ever seen the
Okay.
show The League,
Yeah.
he is Andre on The League.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
That's not. Wait, he's not the one that faked 9/11, right?
No, that was
Andre
Steven-
was.
Andre was the doctor,
Yes. Yeah, the bald guy.
bald guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
The guy you're thinking of was Kevin.
Yeah.
Stephen Reynolds.
Andre's the one they always used to fuck with, and he smoked pubes and
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh god.
and they did the draft at his apartment, and they filmed the porn there.
Yeah. Then Danhausen came out
Danhausen showed up. Yeah.
Oh.
and ran out. So now maybe we see some Depp and Danhausen,
There
which
we
would be
go.
fun.
You saw
Or they even team up and we get a Depp and Danhausen t-shirt.
You saw entirely too much of Tony Deppen. in
Oh,
the match.
boy.
Pull his ass out.
His ass is out like for 5 minutes of the match.
That's an old Ric Flair thing. And Shawn
Ted
Michaels would do it
DiBiase,
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they did the Pee Wee Herman spot with Danhausen and Funches where they play tequila and they're doing the Pee Wee dance.
Oh, okay.
In the movie.
Yeah.
And as Deppen's stumbling around, they kick him in the head. Deppen was one of the most amazing things he did in the match is they're playing the song, and he bumps into the guardrail or bumps into the crowd right as the tequila part happens.
Yeah.
Incredible timing.
Dude's killing it. Fucking killing it. And I don't know.
And
Happy for the guy.
Another one I thought of was the lead singer of Wheatus, Brendan, was in the Clusterfuck Battle
Oh,
Royal
wow.
at Joey Janela's Spring Break the year that WrestleMania was in New York. I think he might have done something with
Yeah.
Deppen. I forget who it was. I think it was Tony Deppen. I think he eliminated him.
Didn't what's her name? Maria Menounos?
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, she wrestled, I think, at a WrestleMania. And she
Yeah, it
might
was
have
like a 3 girls versus 3 girls or something like that. She didn't do much, but
I remember there was one match she did where,
she's a huge wrestling fan. And she goes on Howard Stern a lot.
yeah, Big Bob Backlund fan too.
I love when you find out like certain celebrities are wrestling fans.
Yeah.
This is fucking awesome.
Kind of like, they're on my level. You know?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, she did a match. The one thing I remember, she's Greek.
Yeah.
And she had like her gear was like Greek inspired.
Yeah,
It was, like,
blue and white.
with mostly white. And somebody had like a lot of like spray tan or something on because she had a big spray tan streak that made it look like she had an accident
Yeah.
on the back of her gear.
Yeah.
The other thing she did, she had this thing she worked with AfterBuzz TV, and I think Renee may have done stuff with them. I'm not sure, but one of the people I know did, and was a friend of hers and got involved in wrestling kind of through her a little bit, is Sonya Deville.
Mm.
Like I think before Tough Enough, she was doing stuff with Maria.
Why does Sonya not wrestle?
I don't know. There was plans on bringing her back, and then they just
Yeah,
didn't.
she
do it.
should. I mean, she's good as a GM, but she should wrestle.
Yeah.
She was getting pretty good there.
Any closing things?
I'm trying to think of other people we may have missed.
I mean, probably missed somebody somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was some people that
Comment below, or if you're still watching, comment one that we missed, or let us know in the chat.
Yeah, not Mid South, but with the Von Erichs. I'm sure they probably brought.
Yeah, they probably have like
celebrity
a
or something.
guy from the Cowboys
Or AWA. I'm sure they brought some.
Oh yeah, Scott Ledoux. He was a boxer, and he did a feud with Zbyszko.
Oh, okay.
So Andy, we got the
Yes.
plug.
Let's see. This weekend I will be at Enterprise Pro Wrestling. If you're listening to this on what's the date? The 23rd. So the 25th, I'll be at Enterprise Pro Wrestling. It's in Greencastle, Pennsylvania.
Tomorrow night.
Yeah, tomorrow. Like, finish the
Okay.
one at a time. Greencastle, Pennsylvania. It'll be a trios tournament.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I'm in a trio. I guess it just randomly me, Rob Noxious, and Adrian Starr are the team. So it's the Dick Cariofe Memorial Tournament. So that's in Greencastle, Pennsylvania, and just type in Enterprise Pro Wrestling on Facebook. So
cool.
And then tomorrow is if it's still on because I haven't heard anything because I don't know how many guys are coming. Sanctuary is doing the 570 fights. Hopefully,
yeah.
I know they're gonna start doing that once a month.
Yep,
the last Friday of every month.
Yeah. So that'd
be fun.
Yeah.
And we'll be doing commentary.
Yeah, we will be on the call.
Yeah.
Andy will be in the ring. We will be on the call.
No matches announced so far, but should be pretty fun.
Yeah, excited. Anything else?
No, because the next PPW is 2 weeks, so we can wait for that.
Yeah.
And then no Outbreak shows scheduled. I know that True show's coming up. I'm not on that, but check that out. That's October
8th.
8th, yeah.
It's the night before PPW.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything the 1st or whatever that one is. 2nd October, that Saturday, I forget. So October's a little light, but that's all right. I got shit to do. And we'll be at the jail, so.
Brian.
Yeah, some big things happening over at Project200.com. Sometimes you do things, you have to put them to an end. Pedantic is no more. But next Sunday, we'll be debuting a new show, kind of maybe a more of interest to our audience here. Cheesesteak Suplex is our new show.
Yeah.
Not just wrestling. We're going to talk a lot of wrestling, sports, kind of whatever's on our mind.
Is it all sports or just Philly sports?
Probably centric to that, but if there's like a big sports story, we'll probably cover that.
Listen, if Washington starts doing good, you better give him a fair shake on your podcast.
Okay. If there's any other team in the UFC I'm going to give a fair shake to, it's going to be Washington.
There's
two teams I hate.
Yes. And
in that division, and they're the one that I don't hate. Look, if the Eagles can't win the NFC East, I'm rooting for Washington.
There you go.
But yeah, so wrestling definitely, just whatever we feel like talking about.
And very cool logo.
Very cool.
Very good logo. Yeah.
I like the neon.
I believe it is. If it's not, if shirts and things like that are not available on Project200.com, they will be very shortly. Murder My Dude is still going this week, and this Sunday, we cover Pamela Smart, who, if you've ever seen the Nicole Kidman movie To Die For, very loosely based on her story, and also we did cover quite a bit of. We had to, as a true crime podcast that does do a This Week in Murder segment. We did definitely have to cover the Gabby Petito story as well. We do.
The craziest thing about that story is how the internet is finding shit.
Yeah.
We were talking about it yesterday.
Like this is what the internet should be used for, is fucking getting together for a common find.
Did you ever see the documentary
Don't Fuck with Cats?
Don't Fuck with Cats.
Yeah.
Which is very,
dude,
very much
people
like
are like, dude, I drove on that road and I had my GoPro in my dash cam and I was shooting, like, people who are just like bloggers or content creators drove by the van on the side of the road. Like, people are piecing shit together. Like that's probably why they're saying they found her body.
Yeah.
Because of the way people are dissecting everything on the internet. It's going to be one of those cases that when it's all said and done and we figure things out, it's going to be an interesting story.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and obviously it's been captivating. We also talk about, funny, we were bringing up Cheesesteak Suplex. We talked about a murder at Pat's Steaks in Philadelphia a few weeks back. Ties into soccer, as a matter of fact.
Awesome. Not awesome for murder, but awesome for that. But yeah, I'm very excited. I can't wait to hear Cheesesteak Suplex. Is that still going to be a bi-weekly every other Tuesday?
So it's basically taking the place of Pedantic, which is being put on hiatus.
Okay. Nice. Is Pedantics, like, are you making a completely different platform, or are you just kind of redoing? Are you taking?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Like, can people still go back and listen to the old previous Pedantics, or are they
probably
gone?
Yeah. No, we haven't unpublished them or anything like that. This past weekend we had the second part of an interview with the Philly captain. We did talk a bit of wrestling there. He is a very much a wrestling fan. He's I don't think he's been involved. I think he has managed Onslaught. I know he's friends with Philly Mike Swanson, who we saw at Outbreak. Grim from Grimm's Toy Show.
I like him as a babyface. I was into it.
Yeah.
And
so yeah, that's something you can still check out. I'm pretty sure we'll put it up somewhere. We're not ashamed of the shows. Like,
it was a good show.
It was time to move on. And
I just say,
we're moving on to something fun.
Philly captain killed Pedantic.
Yeah, he killed it dead.
No, it's not his. It wasn't on him. But no, I'm excited for the new show, and go check out the merch and go check out the new pages and stuff. I'm really pumped. I'll just piggyback off that. The IWEP network. We got other shows on here every Tuesday. We're live with next episode will be Not Cool in High. No, yeah, Not Cool in High School.
Yes.
We will be covering the movie Happy Time Murders. Probably talking some pop culture stuff in between. Then the Tuesday following that, with Truth Behind Illusion, we'll be talking about werewolves. History, lore, whole nine. Every Thursday, you can catch us here at Tornado Tag Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Also, make sure to check out our brand new website and link trees below. You can grab some merch or donate and help us out, or sign up for that Patreon. That would be super helpful. Then there Sundays, every other Sunday. Well, there's an episode every Sunday, but it's 1 week's live. The other one's pre-recorded. Bang and Beers podcast.
It's like Raw used to be.
Yeah, you don't even just say they're always live.
Yeah.
No, well, the gimmick now is when we are live, we get real fucked up, and we do a second episode immediately following it.
Oh my!
And we always tell people next week, like when you see next week's is like, we're already in an episode deep.
Oh, okay.
So the one that's not live is one to tune in for, because we get a little nutty.
Oh my.
Interviews with Everyday People is coming back. I do have an episode booked. What I want to do with that show is I would love to sit down with each member of the network, like you used to, and everybody, and kind of just sit down and do a one-on-one conversation, bullshit, talk about podcasting, talk about the network, learn about you as people. And that's kind of my goal to revamp Interviews with Everyday People, was talk about the people who've helped me for 3 years.
4 or 5 episodes, about 6,
almost up to 10.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
So it'd be really fun to do that. So that's the plan. I feel like I'm forgetting a podcast. Truth.
We like wrestling, but that's not ours.
Oh yeah. So I'm just thinking about ours. And then we also have another wrestling podcast. We Like Wrestling. That's on there.
Fun spending some time with them at Outbreak too.
Yeah, they were good dudes, man. They were the one who brought in Earl.
Yeah.
Yep. So we wouldn't have had an experience with Earl if they didn't help bring him in.
Yeah, they were selling wrestling figures. They didn't have
that's where I got my Bobby Heenan from.
Yeah. I almost bought
Britt Baker.
Our Lucha Bros.
God damn it.
The one thing I will say with them is kind of very disappointing. They were Team Me and Bush.
They were Team Me and Bush. Yeah.
Sons of bitches.
Sons of bitches. Also, Higher Than the Words, Stoned and Nerdy, and Welcome Back.
Yes.
Welcome Back. They want to collaborate a lot more with us. They want to be more involved. They do a great job supporting the network and plugging it and talking about it. They want to do like a podcast of the week where we pick one show and then all week long promote it. I'm cool with it. They picked Truth Behind Illusion this week, so go support Truth Behind Illusion. I'm cool with that idea, but support them all if you can. Check out the links below.
Oh, yeah.
And like I said, really dive into that new merch page, that new website. Leave reviews so we can read them for the next shows. We're trying everything to just kind of cast a wide net to make this grow. If you're here on the ground floor, we appreciate you, and a lot of our success has been because of you guys and the word of mouth. If you see us at local shows, I will have a stack. Brian has a stack. Andy has a stack. Come get the new sticker. They're free.
You can buy a shirt off me and I give you a sticker. I give you a sticker no matter what. If you buy a shirt, you get one of my stickers, but then you can have a turnout tag sticker no matter what.
Nate says you guys do great work, guys. Thank you so much,
thanks,
Nate. That means the world to us. Like I said, Nate, go check out the websites, go check everything out. Word of mouth, tell your friends, tell them we exist, share this podcast. All that stuff's super helpful. But thank you guys so much. We truly love you. And thank you for all you do. If you are local and you're not doing anything tomorrow night, I believe that Sanctuary show is open to the public.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah,
$5.
Yeah, so come hang out.
I think it doors at 7. Show starts at 8.
Yeah, if you're in the Hazelton area, come hang out, and we'll give you some stickers, and we'll hang out. We'll have a good time. But that'll do it for Tornado Tag Podcast. Here's some Billy Trey. If I can find it, we're out of here. See you later.